What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex the Podcast. And boys, ladies and gents, rejoice, because it is time. We are finally here. We finally have some things to legitimately talk about going into Split 2 land. It is just on the horizon. We can see it. We can grasp it. We can reach out and touch it. It is just about there. We have an awesome interview coming up, breaking down all of the different storylines, all of the different regions, all of the different things that you might want to know. And then we're also going to talk about it, just us three as men. But before we get into all of that, let's check in with the boys first. Enoch, how are you doing?
Doing well. Nothing to complain about. Yeah, it's been a good week. I've got a lot of potential moves to be made in the not so distant future, and yeah, I'm just excited and optimistic, and it should be a fun little ride. And it's a nice little journey.
There we go. Beautiful. I love it. Very vague, but we'll probably find out here in the next coming weeks, I'd assume.
Oh yeah, we'll see what's up.
Yeah,
Okay.
my gosh, that was the most vague thing ever.
I know, we're just gonna keep it vague.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, real G's move in silence. Finn,
Exactly.
how are you doing?
I'm good. Okay. My thing this week, it's kind of random, very, very random, but I'm learning. So this is probably
George is just
You
going
see
crazy.
that?
She's excited too. She's
Yeah.
ready.
So there is. I went and hung out with my buddy, and we went to a coffee shop. Look, listen, I've had like my ups and downs with coffee. I think probably whenever I started this podcast, I was working. I'm pretty sure I was working as an accountant, and I was drinking coffee quite a bit there, and it was just plain black coffee, which is normal, what I normally get. But I was at work, and I was like, you know what, that's fine. But I wasn't like a over the top coffee guy. But now I had coffee this week, and I was like, yo, why do this thing is a cheat code. I feel invincible with coffee. So I don't know why I have been like sleeping on it. I guess that I was going to say like no pun intended, but that actually didn't even make sense. So I think
I see your thought process.
Yeah. It was close, actually. It was in the ballpark, but I get
a triple.
Yeah. So my mom gave me her Keurig a long time ago, and I didn't even use it ever. Well, I fired that bad boy up this morning, dog.
Dude.
And I got some coffee, and I was like, dude, this is so easy. Why have I not been drinking coffee? I've been literally raw dogging life. So like, dude, now I got some coffee.
Keurig coffee is different, bro. Keurig coffee is like certifiably different. This is how different it is. My grandma and grandpa have been drinking black coffee their entire lives, like to the absolute max, like black coffee all day long, their whole lives. They will not drink black coffee from a Keurig because they're like, it's too strong. These are people who have been drinking it their entire lives. Like Keurig coffee, next level. It's just different. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but it is. So that's why you're feeling that way. That's why you're feeling the cheat code, because it puts you on a different planet. It puts you in a different stratosphere, dude. I don't know what, like regular drip coffee doesn't work like that. I mean, I know this one is drip, but it's like, I feel like it's more concentrated because it's in a little cup. Right?
I don't know, bro, but it's
Are we talking the one that are like involved in like the plastic cups?
Yeah.
It
could be the melted plastic that you're just.
No.
That's it. There we go.
Let's not
It
say
could be
that.
the added
I don't
plastic.
think that that's the case, considering whenever
You don't think that you're getting any melted plastic in your coffee?
No, I don't.
In a Keurig?
No.
A K-cup?
No.
There are K-cups you can use that are natural, that like it goes through the thing.
Well, okay.
My cousin has them.
So that's what I was gonna say. I actually
There ain't no way out of straight regular K-cup you're not getting plastic. I mean, Finn, come on.
Hold on.
Sound off in the comments.
Okay, look, this is one time. Okay, this is the first. I don't know. This is the first time that I've done this. Okay, I'm going to get a cup thing that fits in the Keurig, but it's refillable and it's not plastic. So I'm gonna do that so that I can put my own actual coffee that I like, specific, that I know I like. Just gonna put it in there and this refillable, and you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what
so
this
like
goes.
For instance, how is it not gonna be plastic though? Because I've seen people use those. Aren't they plastic?
I don't think they are. They could be.
Because I
I don't know.
so
dude.
like you're
I might
talking
be
about
capping, bro. I don't know.
you're talking
It
about
could be.
where
It might.
it's like you put the
definitely
Folgers
might
like
be
the
a thing.
grounds in there. You put the grounds in there yourself
I think
instead of
it's like the Keurig little plastic cup, except it's not. It's like its own thing that it just fits into the Keurig, but it can be
Mhm.
whatever coffee you want in it.
yeah. I think
don't
that is
know.
plastic.
I don't know. I saw it on Amazon.
What you could do is get because I think the guy who created the Keurig K cups actually ended up hating himself because he was like, "Wait, I'm polluting the environment," and he was like, "Shit, I didn't think this through." And then so he just like there's a lot of K cups now that are like it looks like the coffee ground bottom, and you
That's
can
what-
get
yeah.
those.
That's what I think.
But
That's what
I think even those are a little plastic,
are they
right? Because it's the thing holding the bottom, unless it's like a. I'd have to do more research, but
Okay,
it's like
I'm
those
gonna
white
look
little
that.
bands on the bottom.
K cup holder.
It's not. You're talking about a holder. I'm just talking about they sell individual cups.
Reusable cups, right? Yeah.
No, not reusable. They're just use them once, but they're not plastic. They're just like or fucking biological material, biodegradable material. That stuff.
Okay,
I
this
think.
looking like. Oh, dude, I don't. This looks like it's stainless. The material is stainless steel.
Will you get the same energy out of steel that you would plastic? Is really the question now.
I mean, I think I mean, there's just plastic is not the play.
Right. So let's just do metal. Why not?
It's
Yeah, I would go metal.
go.
Okay. This actually really truly is a thing. I'm not even kidding.
So
Rip
get
it.
that.
I'm gonna.
We're just
do
looking
this.
out for you.
I'm gonna order them right now because now you got me thinking. Like, am I plasticking it up? Call me Barbie.
Potentially.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not
can.
gonna lie to you. The amount of research that I've put in to potential plastic exposure from K caps is minimal. But like,
See, look, okay,
I just
I'm
feel like
sending this to y'all.
intuitively that's like got to be an issue.
Probably.
Plastic.
Look,
I mean-
I'm sending this to y'all.
Is the plastic used in Keurig K cups safe? Coffee detect. This is coffee detect. This is the detective. He is the lead detective
Okay,
on coffee, so
okay.
I would trust what he has to say.
He could be a paid shill though.
Could be, and it could be. They could be in Big Plastic's pocket. Yeah, you
He
never
could
know
be
what
in Big Plastic's
is.
pocket.
Big Plastic. You never know what they're doing. It says, Rosemary, hi. You are one of several people who have expressed concern about BPA in the plastic used in K cups. Short answer is no. There is no BPA in K cups. No worries on that score. To get a more complete answer, I spoke with the folks at Green Mountain Coffee, and they provided me with the text of their own FAQ on this related topic. I hope you find it useful and reassuring.
And then more reading.
Oh, there. It looks like there's like aluminum foil. No. It's made up of the K cup is made of 3 elements: the cup itself, a layer of filter paper, and a aluminum top foil. The cups themselves aren't recyclable yet; they're working on it. Technically speaking, the plastic in the cups is number 7, meaning it's a mix of plastics as opposed to just one kind of plastic. This is what makes it a problem for recycling. Okay, that's not what I want to know. This is just talking about BPA. I don't really trust this coffee detective. I think he's in.
Here's the
He
John.
might be in big plastic. See,
Big
I mean, that's the
plastic
thing
has
with all
probably
these
gotten
things.
to
We
him.
don't realize how big
Oh
plastic
shit!
is.
Okay, K cups are bad for your health and the environment. This one comes from
Are you
Holly
looking at the
Roser.
Holy Roser
Yeah,
thing?
Holly Roser
Okay,
doesn't seem like she's in.
I just
See,
she does
she
not
stays
seem
away
to be
from
like
big
a
plastic.
paid shill.
Look
Yeah,
at this. Look at it. Look at it.
K cups have negative. K cups may contain hormone disrupting
chemicals.
Oh no!
Finn, you're welcome. We saved
Are
you.
coffee pods making you gain weight?
Yes,
Oh no!
I'm sure.
We definitely, before we make a definitive claim, so much more research has to be done. But I'm just saying,
Next week.
off the.
I'm just gonna.
Are we gonna do a deep dive into big plastic?
Big
Dude,
plastic. I mean, who knows?
We are coming for you.
You ready, big plastic?
Hey,
Okay,
at least we saved Finn.
Yeah. And if anybody out there listening, if we all just manage to disappear next week, big plastic, find a way, save our lives. Save our lives.
Hold on.
We'll be
How
good.
did we get here?
We'll be fine.
Look, because I'm on a coffee kick.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Oh yeah, the
saving
coffee
Finn.
kick.
We're
Okay. Well,
saving
Finn,
from
we're trying to
plastic.
save Finn from big plastic.
That is plastic. I'm not
knows?
going to lie to you. I'm looking at it right now. It
And
is
hey,
plastic.
dude, there might be a listener out there who's also, because of this spark of a conversation, will be saved from big plastic as well.
But with
You
how
never
wide
know.
of a net that we cast, we might also get some big plastic sympathizers in the DMs saying, "You guys are being crazy. You guys have no idea what you're talking about."
They
I'm
would
just going to
definitely
write it
slander
off.
our name.
Yeah,
for
I'm going to
sure.
say, I'm just going to quote tweet
Just-
it and say big plastic. And
Yeah,
then they
like,
know.
Too bad, don't care.
Yeah,
Hey, chill.
that's right. That's right. I'm glad you found coffee though, Finn. I'm glad that
No, that's
hopefully,
exciting stuff.
It's
Yeah.
gas, bro.
yeah. So what?
Why did
so
y'all
what
not
we
tell
could
me?
do-
Why did y'all not tell me?
I
I'm gonna
stopped.
be honest,
I
haven't
I weaned
haven't
myself
gotten on
off.
the coffee yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to wean myself off because so right now it feels like you're on top of the world, but eventually what'll happen is you'll get so used to it that you're going to need more and more and more. And then if you don't have any caffeine by midday, you'll get this massive headache. So I had to wean myself off of caffeine to the best of my ability. And I lowered myself from like multiple cups of coffee a day to I have one soda at noon and then I'm good. And then I don't have any headaches at all. I've like weaned myself off completely. That's
Here's
what
my
they don't
thought
tell you.
process
Big
behind
coffee
it.
doesn't tell you that.
This is why. Okay, I think it's healthier than drinking a soda. Is my thought process. As long as it's just black, like nothing in it, right? I feel like that is more.
Yeah, I see you.
You know,
I'm following.
you know what I'm saying? It's more healthy than just
Mhm.
me drinking like I have Dr Pepper Zeros, but I don't want to drink those because I feel like those are worse for me than coffee. But
Yeah, I
it
feel
seems
that.
like what you're saying, and I've seen it.
I just didn't like being dependent on it.
Right, which is why I think I'm going to stick to one cup at all times. Maybe I don't know. And then that's easy to wean myself off if I only start if I stay at one, like never go to two.
If you can plan the cup at the right time of the day, you'll be the most productive person who's ever lived. But you have to plan it at the right time. It's got to be like at the perfect time.
I've been doing it right before, like right when I start work, and
Yeah,
I feel on fire. I mean, I'm on fire right now. Like I'm on.
Go ahead.
I just got off work 45 minutes ago, and I'm on fire. Is what I'm saying. Like I still feel
Yeah.
great.
Well, the other thing that messed me up was when I was in college, the only way I could get out of bed properly was knowing that a coffee was being made, and I had to wean myself off of that because I was like, I
Crazy.
need to just be able to wake up. But it was like the only thing waking me up was the coffee, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel healthy for me moving forward.
Like
So that's
very
what
dependent
I
on
had to
it.
do. I was so dependent on it.
Right.
And at first it just started off as the warmth of coffee during the wintertime. And then it switched to I need this or else,
Interesting.
Big
Are
coffee.
you in on any type of coffee or energy drink as well, or what?
I dabble in the it's called ice sparkling water plus caffeine.
Oh yeah.
And
I know what
so
those are.
it's so it's majorly carbonated water with a little bit of caffeine. I think it's like 70 milligrams in a can, and then a little bit of flavor, and then
Those
so
aren't
that
bad.
and spring water for me.
Nice. Okay. Well, that was my
Yeah.
week. Wyatt, how was your week, bro?
It was good. So got my truck back from the shop. Feeling good.
Love that.
We'll talk about it a little bit later in the heart to heart, but definitely, the boys learned something about me today before we started the show, and it's tough. It's tough, and you guys are gonna have to stick around and figure out what it was. But I was getting the same questions I've always gotten, and I thought it was a parent, but I guess it wasn't. And so we'll have to break bread during the heart to heart, and we'll have to talk about it then. But I did have some positive things happen as well, which led to that conversation in the heart to heart. So we'll have to come together. We'll have to come together and talk about it. But other than that, the week was pretty solid, pretty good. Not too much going on, and yeah, that was that. I think it's time to move into Apex Legends Global Series, and we've been waiting so long to talk about all of this. We're gonna have so much breakdown of specifically EU, but a lot of the other storylines, a lot of the other teams in the interview. And I feel like it's fair. I mean, we really haven't given too much EU love other than like Finn talking about it on the back end of episodes, early on in the season. But now we're going to get some legitimate EU love. If you are somebody out there who wants to sound like maybe you're newer to ALGS and you want to sound a little bit smarter than the people who know about it around you, you need to listen to this interview because you're going to get some information that you're going to be like, oh shit, like Zephyr backed it up for me. He was, I shouldn't say that. Zephyr gave me the info that was really, really good that I'm going to sound a lot smarter for that reason. I don't know why I said it that way. Yeah, so there's lots of good EU stuff, a lot of little nuggets there. A lot of little nuggets. So, Finn, did you have that post? Did you send that? Yes, you did.
Again?
The post. Yeah. Which question was it? Oh, right there.
Just all of them.
All of them?
Y'all go whatever you want. I know what
Okay.
my favorite storyline's going in. Do you want me to start? And then y'all can look around.
I'll let me set the table real quick.
Okay,
and then
you
we'll
set
go.
it
I
up.
mean, I just feel like any other way of starting it, then that's not. Will Hotzik get a good chair is just the wrong choice. That's just got to be the first one that we tackle
Yep.
and the first one that we just really just cover.
Okay.
I mean, as a podcast, I feel like we'd be doing everybody a disservice if we didn't.
If we didn't, yeah.
Okay, set that
okay.
John table up.
Let me set this table up. Okay, so to kick it off, there's going to be a lot of predictions. We're going to get to our predictions at the end. Before we get into all of that, let's kick it off with a topic that is pretty important, I think. Whenever you get to these major events, whether it be sports or anything, there's always a bunch of storylines that the media likes to hammer at throughout the weeks leading up to the final showdown. And we are no stranger to that. We have so many storylines to get to, so many storylines to talk about. But if you, as a person, had to pick the storyline that means the most to you, something that you're looking forward to, something that just cannot be missed, that people should be tuning into and trying to figure out what happens with this storyline, which storyline would you choose? Enoch.
Okay, well, I feel like we would be doing an absolute disservice to everybody if we did not talk about Will Hotzik get a good chair. As we've had him on the pod, as someone who is more than likely in the future going to be potentially in that coaching spot, I'm going to know that I'm going to want that nice chair. And I'm thankful to have these trailblazers in the coaching community just paving the way for the accessibility for that. And I'm going to be honest, I definitely think that they will have good chairs for the majority of it, but I'm not going to lie. It would be kind of funny. And I could definitely see them doing it, of putting out bad chairs to start for like the first day, just to get people talking about it, just to get like those impressions going, and then give them a good chair after. Because, I mean, whether it's good press or bad press, if people are talking about you, they're talking about you and they're seeing it. And that, I mean, the fact that it's a storyline, like obviously it's a joke storyline, but the fact that it's even a storyline is funny enough on its own. And I think it's something that if you're looking at it from a strategically getting awareness out, that's going to be something that is going to get people talking. That's going to be something that's going to be farming impressions. Whether they're good or bad, they'll know that ALGS is taking place.
That's one of the important ones right there. That's a very important one for the future of gaming. Will Hodson get the right chair? Shout out to citizen_Kurosawa for that one. We asked this on Reddit, by the way, r/competitive Reddit, competitive Apex. It's going to be there. Those are where all of our questions are at, just in case you want to get involved in the conversation. Finn, what do you think is going to be your big storyline coming into this LAN?
I mean, dude, there's so many, bro. Like, I feel like there's a lot. One of them being, how does Effect do in his first LAN? I think you could say the same thing for Zainu. Will Crazy Raccoons finally make it to a Sunday at a LAN event for ALGS? I think the fight, I think my biggest thing is one of the bigger things for like just gameplay wise is going to be Furia versus Alliance over Lightning Rod. I think that's going to be insane. Pretty excited to see the shooting bodies after that. That probably will proceed after one of the teams wins the contest. And both of these teams are very strong in like hard-headed in a way. I don't see them either backing down. I think, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they'll back down, but maybe they come to a truce whenever they talk at LAN before everything starts. But the Alliance versus Furia rivalry has begun, and I'm very excited to see what ends up happening. I think maybe another storyline for me is how does Northampton bounce back whenever they going into last LAN. The first 2 days I think they were number one in overall points, and then whenever they were in winners finals they lost. They like got last place or 19th place, and then whenever they were in the elimination bracket they got like 18th or 20th place. Like I don't the team showed really strong promise through the first 2 days, and then they didn't do anything well. This time around, I believe they are second out of APAC North. I want to see if this team is able to bounce back at LAN. They obviously show that they can do well, but can they keep that consistency of being dominant for the first 2 days, leading all the way up until to Sunday? So that's probably my main storylines that I can think of at this current moment. But do you have any, Wyatt?
Yes. The first one that stands out to me is going to be how will FaZe play going into this tournament, because they started off super hot. We talked about that. They were one of those teams that came out on fire. And then nearing the end of all of this, they started to kind of fall off a little bit. They started to waver. There's a lot of reasons why that could be, and a lot of them go outside of the video game itself and outside of the team itself. But that's something that I look at, because that's one of those teams where it's a big name. You want to see them perform well. If they find a way to perform well, it will only be good for the esport. But there's so many things going against them right now, especially with all the people that they're going to be going up against. So I want to see how FaZe does, specifically for Phony. We've talked about it. I really like Phony. I think he's an up-and-coming IGL. I don't even know if you can say that anymore, because a lot of people are starting to see what he's able to do and what he's been able to replicate now. He's been able to do it multiple times now. So it's one of those things where I want to see a team that I've kind of been keeping a close eye on do well, and hopefully they can. Do I think they will? To be quite honest with you, no, because I think there's still just too much going on. They didn't look great in scrims, so that's one thing that's kind of going up against it, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I want to see if they can bounce back. I want to see if being together all in one spot in the flesh might change their luck a little bit and bring them back to the form that we know that they can be in, because they showed us that they could be there. And then my last one is NRG. I think it's probably the biggest storyline as far as just legacy storylines go. Can they win a LAN? Can they do it? And I would love to see it happen. I think it would be great for the sport. I think it'd be a really solid thing, and I think a lot of people would get enjoyment out of it, especially the players, those guys on the squad, because they're the ones who have been working hard for it this entire time. And there's been this battle back and forth between Sweet, Imperial, Hal, and a lot of people saying Sweet kind of falling off. We obviously had who's the guy from Exet? I'm blanking on his name.
Nocturnal.
We had Nocturnal come on the show and talk a little bit about how he felt like Sweet's style was maybe outdated and wasn't working as well as it can be. Maybe he can come right back, win it, and just be like, no, my style works fine. I just needed to wait for the right opportunity, and it could be there. That's one that I'm looking out for. It's an easy one. It's a layup, but it is one that I think would be near the top, if not the top storyline going into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think Exet is also just, I mean,
I just want to see him win.
I do too.
I just want to see him win.
I do too.
They are just so good, so dominant, so consistent. And I think it is their time. I know that we haven't gotten into the prediction moment yet, but I do think that it is Exet's time. I think they're going to walk away with the W.
It's kind of wild to think about, actually, how NRG, they're not the same. It's not the same. NRG and Exet are in somewhat similar positions, where two very sought after, very highly regarded IGLs with very strong talent around them, but haven't been able to maybe like showcase that all the way. Obviously, Both of
I
these.
mean, for both of those teams, like they just haven't been able to win a LAN.
Yeah,
Like they're just those two teams that are in a position where it's, if they don't win the LAN, it's looked at as a letdown, which is an incredible place to be in. But like those teams definitely have more pressure than the rest of the teams going into it.
Yep.
With that being the case, and so it's going to come down to who is able to handle it the best. I mean, all of these teams are under tremendous pressure. I think the fact that all of these teams are here, they're going to be experiencing something that the majority of people out there will just never experience. And just like the weight of like all of the culmination of all of this time being put down into just like a few moments is just such a cool thing to think about, in my opinion. And these guys got it a little bit more than everybody else, but they've also been more consistent and just dominant for so long. And eventually a LAN is going to go their way, and it could be this one.
They both got what the energy. Sorry, why I didn't. You were about to.
I was about to just move on to the next thing, but if you have more to say, then
it was more so just to reiterate the point that NRG's got second place at the last LAN, and then we talked about Liquid during the Sweden LAN. They got what, third place or fourth place? Nocturnal said. So, Nocturnal said that was like one of his proudest moments, even though they didn't win, right? So, I think, man, I think both of these teams are in similar positions, but it's just going to be like, can you take down the top dogs? Is it your day, right? Is it going to be your day to, specifically on Sunday? I think all of those teams are going to make it to Sunday. Ooh, shocker there, because I didn't say that last time. But I do think all the teams are probably going to make it there on Sunday. But whose day is it going to be on that actual Sunday? Who's going to get lucky? Who's going to get like the ball to drop on their side? You know, the RNG factor, the 50-50s for like zone pools and everything on that Sunday. And so I'm excited to see. But okay, I'll let you transition, Wyatt.
Yeah, let's transition into one team. So this is how we're going to do it right now. We'll go into a team that we think might underperform a little bit, maybe not make it to Sunday. We'll go into our dark horse, and then we'll round it out before we go into our interview with our predictions, because a lot more information is said in that interview. And it was an interview, but there was also a lot of moments where we were kind of exchanging ideas back and forth. So a lot of our thoughts are, kind of displayed in the interview. So let's kick it off with the team that we think might not make it to Sunday. I should also give a warning to everybody who's about to listen to this interview. There is about a 6-minute section where Finn is just defending the energy not making it to Sunday take, and it got haywire, but it was funny. It was a very funny moment, and it was a good time. It was a really good time. Okay, so speaking of that, not making it to Sunday, I gotta sneeze. It went away. Who do we think, in our opinion, is one team that might surprise to not make it to Sunday?
Ooh, that is a juicer, bro.
Would I be surprised if they didn't make it?
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to be surprised, but maybe just a team that, yeah, just do it that way. A team that you think, because I mean, there's probably some layups in here, but maybe just go ahead.
So we're not hoping that they don't. Where it's just like
it's not hoping. It's just maybe it's not their split.
Dude, I'm
gonna go with Dark Zero.
Whoa, that's actually pretty bold, actually.
I mean, no, I'm just saying I would be surprised if they didn't make Sunday. How's that bold?
I thought you were saying like that's
there
what you're
is.
Guessing.
That's
what you're guessing. Like
no.
Okay.
I'm not guessing. I'm just saying. I mean, the way that it was phrased was, "Who are you surprised if they don't make it?"
Okay.
I'd be surprised.
Okay.
Are we doing a different question?
What's a team that you wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make it?
So we're roasting these teams.
That's
okay.
Not
So this is more. Yeah.
How's it a roast?
I would say the majority of South America teams.
That's fair.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it.
Do I got to take a stab? Am I going to be the one who has to take a stab right now?
I guess we're
I can take a stab.
Okay. I like the question more of who do you think is going to be a surprise that they didn't make it on Sunday? Because
Okay,
then
let's go
because
that way.
that's where I got roasted, and I thought Enoch was saying DZ, and I was about to be so excited because if they didn't
no,
make it,
I was
bro.
just simply saying that I would be
Oh,
surprised if
dude.
they don't make
Oh,
it.
He
on
really
Sunday.
twisted my words on that. He really, because I started off with that question and then it switched to that.
So I just think that's
Okay.
more interesting than who.
No, that's definitely more interesting. I answered the question.
I
that was
know,
right in
I
front of
know.
me.
Enoch was thinking he was sly with that. That's crazy.
Okay, a team that might surprise people if they didn't, and surprise you if they didn't make to Sunday, but with things going on around them, it could happen. I think
Oof.
Dark Zero is actually a great answer, to be honest.
I was
Lots
kind
of
of
roster
in. I was in on
turnover.
that.
Yeah, lots of roster turnover, changing of the coach right before LAN. That's a decent answer.
Uh,
Is it the one you're going with, or why are you bringing
I'm
it
not
up?
picking that. I have a different one. Finn, do you have one?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's hear
I
it.
wasn't. I didn't know. I thought I wasn't going first, but I feel like
Go
I
ahead.
shouldn't go first after all the scrutiny that I've gotten. I'm gonna wait and
Okay.
let y'all go before me.
Okay. I'm gonna say Optic.
Wow.
I have
okay.
no reason to believe it. I don't know why. There's just a feeling in me. I was looking over the roster and I was just like, Optic doesn't seem like they belong. I can't describe why I feel that way. I feel that way.
Okay.
I think that was a storyline that I'm excited to see, is the dropped Optic squadron and like the redemption of the Optic team that showed out. And they didn't win the one, but like they had an absolute dominant performance. Skittle Cakes cleared his name of all cheating accusations with his just absolute monstrous performance. And now they got dropped after coming back after not making it. And so yeah, I could see it as a potential of them not making it, but I also think that they have a strong potential of winning it. Like, I'm not going to say that they're in my top 3 of teams who I think they're going to win, but I will say I would not be surprised in the slightest if Optic is able to put everything together and have dropped lead the way to some LAN victories.
Finn.
Okay, so I'll go with it's gonna be a safe bet though. Like it's not like maybe not a safe bet. They got second in their region, and obviously Zeph is a big fan of them, but I'm gonna say Vex doesn't make it to Sunday, and that's crazy considering they got second in EMEA. And maybe I'm faded for that. I could be. It's not nearly as faded as my other take, but I'll say it's a little bit bold. It's like medium bold, not heavy bold, considering they've somewhat been up and down, but they actually put a pretty solid split together. So this may not be a great pick, but I'm going to say a bolder prediction. I'll go with Vexed Gaming.
Vexed Gaming. Okay, those were the teams that would be a surprise if they didn't make it to Sunday. That's the way I got to phrase the question. Phrased it wrong the first time. Now, let's move
hold on. E didn't go.
He said Dark Zero.
Wait, you didn't? No, he didn't say Dark Zero though.
I'm just gonna say he said Dark Zero.
Yeah, we can just take what we have and we can keep it.
Wait, E,
keep the bus rolling.
No, hold on. No. E, you're going to answer that question. You are going to answer the question. What team?
No, I think we're good.
No.
I think we can move
I
on.
actually heard
to
Enoch
answer.
say Xset
Yeah, I heard that
I did
too.
not
before
say
the
that.
show. Before the show, he said Xset.
You have to have an answer. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't
All
make
right,
the rules.
I'll go with
Actually, I guess we do.
absolutely. I would ideally like to see this team there on Sunday, but I will understand if they don't make it, and that will be the Oxygen Boys.
Dang.
Yeah, that
Good
one's
pick,
tough.
probably.
That one is a good pick, though.
I think.
I
Bane-
mean, I'm
I don't
not. I'm fully hoping and wishing the best. I mean, I've got so many people out here that I'm wishing the best for, and I'm very much looking forward to being able to watch this all play out, because I'm gonna just be happy for everybody. Because like I'm not like emotionally invested with too many of these teams. Other like just homies with the NA people. But yeah, I can see that this being a team that doesn't have experience playing LAN together. I don't believe. I expect this team to be a team that will perform really well and has the potential to win a LAN. I just don't think that this is their time. And so I think they're going to experience some like first LAN struggles and are going to learn from that, and then are going to come into the next one a much stronger team.
I don't think they have it. First off, we've had Aiden on. We love Aiden. I'm not sure if this team has it just yet to win a LAN either. Like, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they got to Sunday and did really, really well, though. Like, this team has pop-off potential. They're kind of like, and maybe maybe we've already compared whenever we were interviewing with Zeph, but this team has similar vibes to the old G2 squad, of course, like where they have a ton of pop-off potential. They are going to be fighting quite a bit, but I feel like they're a little bit more methodical if we're comparing them between G2, but that's just my opinion. Enoch did not agree with that, I don't think. But I agree. I mean, I could see them flopping and just doing poorly, but I don't know. I wouldn't I don't want to count them out because I think they're going to win a lot of fights. They're just talented. Two roller players with Vayne having a ton of experience too.
It'll be fun to watch.
100%. Okay, moving into our dark horse to win it all. The team that nobody expects to win it all, but could just do that. Let's kick it off. Finn, or no, I guess technically Enoch went last time, but you wanted to go last. Finn, I want to hear your dark horse.
I don't know if it's quite a dark horse because they're in the tier list. If I was to make a tier list of like should win, could win, like has potential or whatever, they're in like the middle category of they possibly could, considering they won their region. But I'm going to say Moist Esports as my dark horse, though I don't feel like they're a dark horse. I think they're like a gray horse where like, not quite dark horse. Like they're like people, I don't think people will be super surprised. Maybe people that aren't super following the scene would be surprised to not hear a large name like, a TSM or NRG or Alliance, somebody like that winning, excuse me. But I think this Moist team is solid enough, has a lot of experience under their belt enough to where they can make some noise and win this thing. So I'm gonna say Moist as my dark horse.
That was 100% going to be mine, and now I'm scrambling to figure out what I want to do next. I think Moist is one of those teams where we saw it seemed like when the lights were bright, they came to play last time. And I think that's kind of why I wanted to follow up on it, is because that when you find a team that has that and they continue to perform the way they performed in the region that they've played in, which we've argued that it could be, maybe it's not up to the EU standards quite yet, but we've said consistently it's one of those regions where it's not easy. It's a very, very good region. So Moist is definitely one of those teams. I don't know, dude. If I had to pick another one, I'd probably go with my boys in 100 Thieves. They play a little bit different of a style. I know it's not a style that a lot of people love to watch, but they've won it. This is another team that has championship caliber. They've won it once before. Onmu is friend of the program. He's been on the show. Cool guy. I think he has the ability to do it once again. And it's hard because when it's a dark horse, there's a lot of things that go against them. And there were definitely some gunfights in late game that they could have won, and maybe some decision making that was just not a little bit iffy. But they've done it before. How can you go against a team who's done it before? If they were in match point and their final two teams, you're not looking at it and being like, okay, the moment's too big for them. They've already done it. So I would definitely say 100 Thieves as my dark horse. Enoch.
I'm going to go with the boy and his boys, Complexity. I think that they could put it together. They've been doing a boot camp, and this is a team that I think the way that they approach the game is from like a very professional position, and I think they're doing a lot of things to keep themselves right. They definitely, I'm pretty sure, have all been hitting the gym with that boy Kimchi, getting the boys into healthy habits, and I just think that they're going to be a team that comes ready to play and has been putting in the work and putting themselves in the best position to show up on the days that they're going to be playing. And I'm excited to see what they do. And I know they'll hear it in the interview. Zephyr wasn't as big on the complexity boys as I am, and but even with that, I'm excited to see how the boys do, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Cody play at LAN.
We all could have guessed that one. We knew that one was coming. That boy Cody, first ever recurring guest on the show. So complexity is Enoch's dark horse. Okay, boys, the moment of truth is prediction time. Prediction time is here, ready to go. I say we make a game out of it because last time we did our predictions, and I don't even think we brought up like who had the closest prediction. I think this year we make a concerted effort to bring forth whose predictions were the closest at the end of the day. I don't know which system.
Hold on, we need to have some stake, some skin in the game. I don't know what we are just now doing this off the cuff. We have no clue, but
whoever loses has to shave their head. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I knew you're not going to be there. Hell no. Okay. Yeah, I do agree though. We should have something. I
don't know what exactly.
Sound off in the comments.
Yeah. You tell us.
Let us know, and then we'll maybe decide something.
Yeah.
Post decisions.
Okay, so
But with the intent that there is going to be something.
Okay, let's do. How are we going to do points wise, Wyatt?
Okay, so let's do. So we're picking 5, right? We're picking our winner and then the other 4, right?
So the top. Are you saying top 5? We're going to do a top 5.
We're doing a top. That's what I thought we were doing. We're doing a top 5, right?
Okay, yeah, and then if you get the winner right, you get like 3 points instead of 1. Or do you want to do it? I don't know how we're wanting to do it. You just want to have 1 point for if you have all the teams in the top 5?
We could just not do a point system, and we could collectively we could just make it another bit for like a post LAN pod of us looking at our predictions, breaking it down, and having a gentleman's discussion on who was
had the
best
ones.
Yeah,
Gentleman's discussion would be funny.
We don't need a point system.
Yeah, it would be funny too because we would have our own opinions about why other people are more right than others, and then the listeners would be able to be like, "No, that's wrong," or "Yes, that's correct," and then argue with the other people. You get to
make a case, though.
Yeah, you get to make your own case for why. Unless somebody's just a landslide, that would suck if somebody just got all 5 right. Or that'd be really cool.
Like when I have all 5 of them right, I mean, I feel bad for you guys.
Dang, I'm feeling nice now going into this. There's a lot actually now riding on this. Okay.
How's there a lot?
A lot of pride on the line. Sorry.
A lot of pride on the line.
Yeah.
If we do we throw in our dark horse into the gentleman's discussion?
That'll be 6. So let's do 5. Our top 5 plus a dark horse.
And then what if our the team that we says don't make it to Sunday? Like what happens then?
Do you want that one to be? Do you want that one to be a point?
I'm not making a list of teams that aren't going to Sunday.
No. It's just our team that you picked.
Just do one team.
You did this.
The one team
that you were surprised. You picked
Glitch.
You picked Glitch.
Oh, Oxygen.
Dude, I feel way worse now. My team got second in EMEA.
Well, then you shouldn't have picked it.
I didn't know we were doing it like this. Okay, no, I don't want that one to be a part of it.
Yeah, we can leave it out. We can leave it out.
Do dark horse in top 5.
No, because if we're changing it up, I'm just gonna pick any APAC, like any.
I was gonna say South American
team.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. That's for the SA teams, but
I mean, I'm not trying to talk shit, but like,
what if Onyx Esports just wins it all?
Wow,
they could.
Well,
that is that's APAC South.
Isn't that what we said?
No, we're talking about SA.
South America.
I mistakenly said APAC, but I meant SA.
Oh, okay.
Am I rambling?
Okay, so final conclusion: top 5 plus a dark horse.
Top 5 plus the dark horse. The dark horse
is what?
Tiebreaker is if you set a team or
whoever won. But if we have the same one that wins,
did any of us guess TSM winning?
We haven't
last
yet.
time.
No, I don't think so. Did we?
No. Last time, did we guess it?
Oh, maybe.
I
picked Dark Zero. So I know one of you picked Xset because I was going to pick Xset.
I picked Xset, I think.
Yeah,
and then Enoch picked Furia. Or something. Yeah.
So none of us got TSM.
No,
I did not pick Furia. They were not there. The last
All right,
line.
well then I was maybe.
But we can go with that.
Yeah, my baddie.
He's just like, they're so good, they'll just find a way to win it.
He will.
Maybe
will
I
scratch
don't know.
and
Maybe we
claw
did
out
have
a
TSM.
victory.
Somebody maybe would know that, but okay.
Okay. All
let's
right.
do it.
We'll just do it this way. We'll have a gentleman's discussion. Does anybody have their top 5 ready to go? I've got one of my top 5.
You got only one?
Yeah, because I'm looking, bro. Now there's a lot more on the line.
I know.
here,
Now
and I
that's
have
what I'm
other
saying.
tabs
Now that
open.
there is a like actual skin in the game, I'm now more nervous than ever before about this because you got to get a top
Never been more calm,
5
cool,
right.
collected in my life.
A top 5. Dude. Okay. I'm gonna go. Wow. Okay.
Okay, Finn. I'm gonna say this too. Before you pick your winner, I'm gonna say this. If you want to be fully redeemed from your NRG not making it to Sunday,
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
No. This is what you need to do.
NRG is number 1.
You need to pick NRG as number 1, but not only do you have to pick it, they have to win. If they don't win and you pick them number 1, it means nothing because it's just like, oh, he just picked it. It was a pander pick. But if you get it correct and they win, then you are in the clear. The only thing that could stop that is if we also pick NRG to win, because then we can always just say, oh, I picked it too, and then you can't win.
Man, I might change my list up just to.
Okay, so you're
Just to rob Penn of some
okay.
glory.
So essentially, you're telling me I can't play. I can't do.
No, you can do whatever you
You
want.
can do whatever. I'm just saying if you want to
like,
get completely
if you
away,
wanted redemption, yeah.
I'm
because
gonna
then you
need
could
it.
dunk on us forever, and we would have no retort.
It would get
We
brought
be
up every
stuck.
single podcast. I want you to know that.
Yeah, it fairly too, because we definitely brought it up just
Again,
about every single podcast.
Yeah, every single podcast. Yeah. So I'll
It's
go
just
with.
funny.
All right, fine. My top 5. Oh, dude! Wow, this actually just got super hard. Okay, exit. I'll go TSM. Exit TSM. Wow, I feel pretty good about those two. I'll say NRG for the fact.
Wait. Did you start off with your winner?
No, I haven't yet. I'm gonna say who I think is gonna win, and then my dark
Okay.
horse.
Wait, so who do you think's gonna win?
Well, you got to
Exit?
put them in the positionings, because if we're
let's
doing
do
the
top 5, 1 through 5.
so
Okay.
start from 5 and then go down.
Okay, fine. NRG 1. I'm doing this
You're
because
going
Wait.
energy.
I need
So
to.
you're going 1 to 5. All right,
I'm
go
doing
1
that
to 5.
because I
Let's
need
go.
to do it. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so you picked
So
your winner
Sweet
first.
will
Okay.
for hopefully so Sweet will see this and know that I don't hate him. I'm not part of his biggest haters club, and I have full
So
confidence.
maybe he'll view this as just a performative action.
Yeah.
Because you felt like you're.
Well, okay.
Your
All
hand was
right. All right.
pressed.
So I'm gonna go NRG. I'm gonna go Exit. I'm gonna go TSM. I'm gonna go. Oh, dude. I'll go Alliance. I feel pretty good about that pick, actually. And then I will go Moist. No, excuse me. Moist is my dark horse. So I'll actually put them not there. I'll put Optic for 5th. So that's 4 NA teams plus 1 EU team. Wow. Okay. All right. And then my
And
dark
what was
horse
your
is
EU team?
Moist. My 1 EU team was Alliance, I think I said.
Mm-hmm.
So rerunning NRG. Let's go Exit, then TSM, and then I'll go Alliance, and then what did I put for my 5th? Oh gosh, I just said it. Optic. Did I say Optic? Was it my last one? Oh no, yeah, I'll go Optic. Jeez Louise, I'm all over the place. Did y'all get that or no? Do I need to redo it again?
You might need to redo it again.
Okay, I know. For my own sake, I think I need to do it. Let's go NRG, Exit,
Set your
TSM.
table. Set your table. Set
That's
your
3.
table first.
That's three. Okay, my picks are this. Finalize. This is Regis filming this. Like final answer. NRG number 1. Exit number 2. TSM number 3. Alliance number 4. Number 5, I'll go with Optic Gaming. My dark horse is Moist Esports. Esports. So that'll be my potential sleeper wild card pick. That's my 6.
Okay.
In that order.
All right.
All right. I can rip mine.
Rip it.
I'm gonna go X at number 1. I'm gonna go Alliance number 2. NRG third. You got to go with TSM. We'll sauce them in there at 4th. Am I forgetting anybody? And then I'm going to go with LG Chivas
No way.
at 5th. And then I'm going to have Complexity as my dark horse.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start from my dark
Because
horse.
I just want to say I was going to throw in Dark Zero, but I only didn't because, in my opinion, that is a team that they're either going to get like they're going to be like the 6th, the 8th team that hits match point and then wins it the next game. So they're not like they're either going to win it or they're just going to be like top 10, in my opinion.
Okay.
But they were up there. I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
Make that point known.
Dude, he's just trying to get as much juice as he can for whenever the argument happens. He can be like, well, I did say this whenever.
I'm not gonna lie. I
mean,
did
it was
write down
sad. It
Dark
was
Zero.
sad.
I did write down Dark Zero as well, and I deleted them. I not
We
deleted. I
have a lot of
scratched
the
them
same
out.
picks, by the way. Me and
100%. I mean, like, they're just so good. I mean,
I actually have like a very different list.
Oh,
to me,
I'm
just like I was like, I feel like there's no way, like, just before Wyatt says his, there's no way that I wasn't going to have Exa, Alliance, NRG, TSM. Like, for me, like, those are non debatable top 5s.
So we're basically me and you are deciding between either Optic or
Optic.
And yours is what? Your special pick was what? Your 5th one was what?
Wow, what was my 5th one?
Like, what was your 5th pick?
Yours was.
Oh, LG. So it's between
LG,
LG,
yeah,
and
LG.
Optic. Yeah, that's me and
Yeah.
you.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a
We'll see how
wild
it goes.
pick. Well, it's a wild pick. I like it though. Okay, I'm gonna start from my dark horse. Go up. My dark horse, like I said earlier, was 100 Thieves. So I had them in my 6th spot, which is technically just your dark horse spot. 5th, I have Alliance. This is where I wrote in Dark Zero and then I crossed them out. I put Alliance in there. 4th, I have NRG. 3rd, I have Xset. 2nd, this is where my thing gets a little wild. I put Furia up here in 2nd. And then 1st, Team Ascend. I've got EU winning this one. So EMEA, sorry. I've got Ascend winning the whole thing. That's my list.
And then your wild card was what?
100 Thieves.
Okay.
100 Thieves was the wild card. Yeah. So I'm feeling good. I wanted to I didn't want to have all NA, even though it is a very good region. I wanted to spice it up a little bit. Anytime you look at like a big bracket, there's always one random team or a few random teams that just like surprise. Maybe they're good, but you just didn't think they were that good. I really feel like Furia is going to have a good tournament. I have a feeling about Furia. I just don't know. It might be the same situation they had where they were dominating in points but couldn't win it, and then Dark Zero ended up taking it.
I'd argue they're a better team now, though, since then. Like, there are definitely
Yes,
a
but there's a
more
lot of-
well-rounded teams, you know?
There's so many good teams though, dude. There's so many good teams.
I know, dude. It feels like the actual Apex gameplay has improved so much from last split playoffs to this split playoffs. I don't know why that is, but it feels like it is. I don't know. Everybody's just getting better at the game, dude. The average player now is just so much higher level than it used to ever be. I don't know.
Yeah. It's wild. Okay, those are our official predictions. Did we already tweet out what people's predictions are? Who's going to be the winner? Did you tweet that out today, Finn?
Say that again? Which one? What do you mean?
Did you tweet that?
Yeah, I
who's gonna be the
tweeted.
winner?
Yeah, I tweeted if what people thought, like their bold predictions or their spicy predictions.
Okay, on the
Twitter.
day of, we're gonna send out a tweet just giving out your top 5. Who you think is gonna end up top 5? We want to see what you guys have to say. That's our top 5. We want to see your guys' top 5. Ladies and gents, if you still haven't figured out what.
Oh, I was going to say, your people are probably listening to this the day of, like either Thursday or Friday. So the tournament's probably started by the time that this is reaching
but I mean,
your ears.
They can still. They can still.
100%. I want them to do it. I want them to do it. We might do it. We need to do it the day before, because since it's going to start at 4 a.m. in the morning, like we need to have it up and ready so people can do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll send that out. So what is that? Wednesday night? Wednesday night, we'll tweet it out.
Okay. There we go. So we want to see your guys' top 5. We want to see what you guys have to think. And if you're still unsure, then you're going to want to keep listening right now and listen to this interview to give you some more insight on some of these teams that are coming up here, especially in the EU region. You're going to learn a lot about those EU teams and some of the storylines. We're going to hit a quick ad. And on the other side, we're going to get to Zephyr. All right, here we are, ladies and gents. We have on the show Zephyr. He is here. He is ready to go, and we are ready to talk ALGS. We've got Split 2 land coming up, and we need someone to break it down for somebody out there, all of us out here, all of the different things going on with ALGS. So, Zephyr, how are you doing, my man?
Good. It's been a long day, but I'm more than happy to be here.
Great. Awesome. And so it's definitely been a crazy second split here so far. And we're going to get into all of that in just a little bit. But I kind of want to go into your backstory a little bit here. Just kind of let everybody know who you are, how you got to your position, and where you're currently sitting right now.
Yeah, sure. Why not? My name is Benjamin Fawcett. I am 22 years old. I am currently a college student at Texas A&M University, going into my junior year, actually. So halfway done with my meteorology degree. And I've been a caster for 5 years, just kind of off the tail end of high school. And recently I joined the ALGS Pro League.
There we go. Beautiful. You said meteorology, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I graduated from Fresno State with a degree in mass communications broadcasting, and the final class was we had to do like our school newscast, right? The meteorology, like being the weatherman, was the funnest thing I've ever done in my life. I actually volunteered to do it 2 times because it was so awesome. Pointing at the screen took me like 5-10 minutes to get down. Have you had to go through that entire process yet?
I was going to say, I do the weather for Texas A&M, so yeah, I definitely I get my fill of it kind of bi-weekly for them. I do it, I think, like it's either Thursday or Sunday. It always changes every semester, but yeah, I'm one of the weathermen.
There we go. It was a rush for me. I'm sure you enjoy it if this is the degree you're going down. Any angry letters, emails about being wrong on any of the weather? Yet.
No. You're allowed to be wrong. That's the whole reason I'm doing this right now. Like, it's the only job where you can just be wrong the entire time. I mean, I guess I could be wrong as a caster too. I definitely say the wrong thing all the time as a caster, and they still hire me. So I'm just picking all the good spots here.
Yeah. Any spot where you're allowed to just be wrong, but then also just keep the job, you want to stay there. You want to stay in that spot.
If they pay me, I mean, might as well.
There we go. Okay, so moving forward into ALGS Split 2. It's been a weird run because obviously in Split 1, TSM comes away. They're here. They're going to land, but they didn't have the greatest of splits, I think people would say. I think a lot of people would argue that this was one of their weaker sides. When you're looking at a team like TSM who didn't play their best, do you still look at them as a candidate to be one of the top teams coming out of this tournament, despite all of the other talent coming from all the different regions?
Absolutely. And like, no doubt about it. Like, I know it was rough for TSM, and obviously we all got to watch them like literally with only, what was it, like 3 or 4 match days left, barely be on the cusp of qualifying. I mean, people were literally doing the math, like going into day 6, and they're like, if TSM ain't winning every single match, there's like a 6% chance that they're on their way to land. And I was like, don't worry about it. Raven shapes those boys up. They're the hardest grinders in Apex, like across the board in comparison and with almost every single region. And they came back, they put it together, and they continue to put it together, right? It's not just well within the split, it's afterwards going into scrims and their performance there as well. Even if people have their opinion about scrims, whether it's kind of good quality or not, it doesn't matter. They get the job done. They perform. They've come through. I think literally in scrims, they have like the best score standing out of any other team currently in like the world for international scrims. And take that with a grain of salt. You know, sometimes we get some variance, especially with the ping there. But to say or look at TSM, Imperial Hal, Reps, Verholst, and look at them and go, a rough start to the split means we're done with it. No. I mean, those guys are going to come out and play just like any other LAN, just like any other performance, and they're going to be a threat to the entire lobby.
What do you think about TSM makes them as strong as they are?
They're relentless. As an entity within Apex Legends, they are dominant in a sense of how they practice, how they perform, when the chips are down, the legacy that they have to defend constantly, right? These are all pressures that push them to be their very, very best. There has never, ever been a split or a year that TSM has arguably started off weak and then has not come back from, right? And I can't sit here and tell you what works in the heads of Hal and Reps and Barrels and how they put this together and how they continue to do so. That's something that is individual to them as players, right? But it is an impact that forces them to be their very, very best, right? And so I'm kind of more of a narrative guy, I will say, in terms of I can't tell you the micro specific reasons of why Hal and them are so damn good, but I can definitely tell you the history alone is something that pushes them to perform.
If we're talking, well, I mean, you got to cast this whole split for split 2 for North America, and I was wanting to know what is a team that you were kind of maybe surprised by. Granted, the 11 teams that are showing up that are from North America, are already like kind of household names in some sense. But is there a team that has kind of surprised you in some regard whenever it comes to this split and making it to LAN?
Are we talking specifically North America?
Yeah, we'll talk North America specific.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll start
let's
North
do
America
that.
there. It's a damn good region too. So you've got your pick when it comes down to who to look at here. I don't think it's like surprising that the team I'm about to mention has done well, but in terms of their history and the expectations behind them, if I had to pick a team like that doesn't have that kind of legacy and like the expectations behind them, I think I'd pick Oxygen, right? Obviously the newly signed Oxygen, previously the Glitch Energy roster, etc. Aiden, Reeds, of course, I believe Vayne, right? Which is crazy that I say that because Vayne was a previous winner literally years ago, right? I mean, the dude has his experience in spades as well, but the fact that they've gone through what has been this like growing period, right? Because what were they before? The BR Demons, right? They were the BR Demons in the first split, right? And they weren't going to LAN. They didn't make playoffs, right? I mean, they were still adjusting to the platform and the metas as they evolved. They come through. There's some minor changes regarding the roster, especially Sentinels, etc., and a few other things. And then finally, it's this recent split that they've seemed to really crack down on it and like put it together. And I truly respect them for that. And then recently, I think it was Steel Series, the actual like the last like third party tournament that we had in North America, a true like blue solid pro tournament. They blew it out of the freaking water. First place across the board, even beat out TSM, right? And something about that, as well as what I've seen from them, like contesting against FaZe, right? And in just general performance, I mean, it has literally just been uphill for them. So I think in terms of a roster that surprises me, everyone else kind of has their history, and like you look at them and you're like, yeah, I can see that. The Luminosity's back, right? Or sorry, LG Chivas, right? And TSM, NRG, right? A few others, and it's like, you can make arguments and say, yeah, no big deal, right? But Oxygen definitely has impressed me.
I'd agree with you wholeheartedly because we talked about him quite a bit during our reviews of the week or the few days, and they were a lot of like hit or miss team. Like they seem to be a very momentum based team where if they're snowballing these kills, then they're kind of a scary team to to fight against. And I mean, shoot, they're probably up there on one of the best contest teams too. I mean, if you talk about it with the whole FaZe situation and them, like, dude, it's crazy that how good they are. Granted, they have Reeds and Aiden, strong control players, and then Vayne mechanically in his own right. We I would love to maybe switch on to maybe another region, maybe EMEA, APEC South, APEC North, whatever,
Always.
South America,
Always.
whatever you would like. I know that you're a fan, I believe, of EMEA, pretty strong fan of EMEA, and so I would love for you to talk maybe some surprises from Split 2 from EMEA, maybe a dark horse for you, and then we'll get into the groups after that. But for EMEA,
Sure.
like, who impressed you on making it to LAN?
All right. You're feeding me all my favorite questions. If you ask me about EMEA, that's where I can't control myself. Hold on, let's pull up some goodies. All right, looking at them: Alliance, Vex, Pioneers, Beavers, Jailings, E6, Ascend, Entropic, Aurora, and Eternal, which I think they just got picked up by someone here recently, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, go next now. Congratulations to them, by the way. It's always awesome to get signed by an org. Oh man. Sorry, I love the stories of so many of these players. It's really, really hard. I'm going to go with Entropic. I'm very impressed by Entropic, which was previously the 2R1C roster. And obviously, for some of you out there who are like super big fans of EMEA, you might already know the kind of stories I'm about to tell. But between Uchako, Hiraka, and Thorfinn, this is the current iteration that is going in arguably one of their strongest forms to go compete at this upcoming playoffs. But it has been backed by history that is just so absurd when you talk about the timeline, right? Because we come from them previously being Kick, right? Coming out of Split 2 of Year 2, right? They get picked up by AYM. This is back when they had Oirin, who then went on to play for Fire Beavers, right? They go into that land arguably in one of the worst states because they miss out. And in terms of like Hiraka gets like literally COVID, that's their IGL who can't play anymore. Jerovic has to step in and a few other reasons. And just as this team has found their momentum, they are brought down, right? And then they go into Split 1 of this year. And right before that happens, all of these issues balloon with AYM, right? And it spirals this roster like everywhere. We've got, I believe it was Hiraka and Jerovic, they end up playing for the Scars, right? When Scars kind of like finds itself disbanding, right? And then we get Uchaka over playing on Heroes in kind of this mess of a roster with like Wraith LK and a few other people, right? Oirin has obviously left for greener grass as it grows with Fire Beavers, and the man just starts to launch. And the Split 1 performance from both the Scars roster and the sorry, my apologies, the Heroes roster is like, it's just dog, man. Like it ain't good. And trust me, they can sit there and they can tell you all day that it wasn't good, right? And so Split 2 comes back around. These guys are friends, right? And they look at themselves and they say, these rosters are like disbanding, fall apart, like Taishin's retiring, etc., right? And they just ultimately decide, let's put it back together, right? And it's a crazy thing too, because Oirin was arguably that like pivotal piece on Kick/AYM that made them as strong as they were, and they were missing that. And so they had to find a fill of some sort to bring that back together as they turned into 2R1C. Now, granted, they had to play through, like, I think it was some iteration of the Challenger circuit before I think they did, because they go into preseason. Yeah. So they have to defend their spot, relegation, right? They are brought down into the qualifiers for Split 2, right? And literally, they are in the bottom depths, bottom 10th in terms of points. And they then, like, in the last 3 games before match point finishes, they don't know that, but like those last 3 games, they put up some of the highest scores. You can go back and look at it. And that moment right there allows them to qualify for Pro League, allows them to send this roster forward. They eventually settle on Thorfinn, right? Coming through another Challenger Circuit entity who has had his time in spades. And trust me, during the entire split, they're doing roster change after roster change. There's a moment when VJ, the previous player from Ascend, he steps in, fills that hole for a little bit. And all the while, it doesn't matter. You're reforming this bond between Uchako and Hiraka. They're coming together as this incredibly strong duo between the immaculate game sense from Hiraka, and then Yushako just being the demon he is. And then once they finally settle, they piece together that third. They have defended all split long, and they send themselves on to playoffs. Then they get picked up by Entropic. I mean, dude, the story is just, it is so legendary in terms of like where they have come from and where they currently stand after literally being on the roller coaster of hell down to the very bottom depths and climbing all the way back up. That is the story I love when we talk about Amiya. Also, I'm so sorry to any of your watchers who had to just listen to me for like 6 minutes.
That was awesome. I'm pumped up. There was so many words being thrown around that I was trying to grasp a hold of, but I'm still pumped up. So no, that was awesome. Don't apologize for that at all. And you said earlier, you really love the idea of like the storylines and not so much the micro, but just you're taking a look at these teams from afar. There's so many storylines that could be completed with this. There's so many. And so with that being said, which one which one comes to the forefront other than the one you just described to us, obviously?
Right.
Is there another one that comes to the forefront for any team out there? One that stands out to me is like NRG. NRG is one that's like, to get that final one would be great. Is there another one that you're thinking of, or any storyline that comes to mind for you?
You were asking me to pick like the favorite of my children. It's like, you want to talk about NRG? How does it feel being the second best? Right? Like that's the narrative you rock with that one there, right? How does that emotionally hit in terms of the turmoil for a team like that, as literally coming behind the clutches of TSM for as long as they have here? One of the strongest rosters, most well-performing, right? They don't even show up to scrims half the time to keep their cards close to their chest, right? To come out internationals, guns absolutely blazing, and they always do well, but they are always just this close to being the best of the best in North America. I don't know how that hasn't hit in some mental way for that roster. Like that, for me, I am not a strong man. I am down at a certain point. I am put out with it. So obviously, like that's just a little story, but like still going into this one with the performance that they have had in North America, the split, not something that was maybe as incredible as previous generations, but still, like I said, same with TSM, a considerable threat that you have to acknowledge and you have to respect. So that, I mean, I picked on whatever I picked the team you picked, but I mean, I love them. I love them all.
And okay, moving away from,
sorry, I have a quick question with NRG.
Mm-hmm.
So NRG being as good and as strong as they are, would you ever at any point within the last year or two ever think that they wouldn't make it to a championship finals at LAN?
It would be it would shock it. Like it shocked me. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those, like, there are certain things in life. Rivers flow, right? Rain happens, grass grows. NRG makes finals in a lobby, right? Like it just happens.
Like they make it to Sunday. They just make it to Sunday.
Yeah,
and for anybody to say they wouldn't would be just crazy. It would
just be completely out of pocket.
And it would make no sense.
Yeah. Like you just haven't been watching Apex.
Yeah. You'd have to be
like you
somebody
just
who
don't
doesn't watch at all. At all.
Definitely nobody on this podcast has said that NRG wasn't going to make it to Sunday. And it's definitely not the guy wearing the Razorbacks sweatshirt over there.
Look, man, I have to give this explanation every single time because I feel like I have to defend myself. But at the time, NRG was during their streak before last LAN. It was split. Yeah, they were winning. They were winning every single third-party tournament in the world. They looked
oversight,
like the best team in the whole entire world. Whenever they would go to ALGS, do any type of ALGS tournament, they would fumble. They would get 15th, 16th place, 19th place, and then you call me crazy for thinking that they might not make it to a Sunday whenever they were not performing well outside of third-party tournaments. Like, I mean, it's not that craziest thing.
I mean, they had to be performing well enough to make it to LAN.
Okay, but I didn't say LAN. I did say that. No. I just said that they wouldn't make it to Sunday.
He wouldn't make it to Sunday.
That's all I said. I said that they would make it to LAN.
No, I know.
Sunday.
I know, but you made a post that they had to you were looking at an energy that had played well enough to make it to LAN, and then said
They're not making
not
it.
gonna make
Correct,
till
because I
Sunday.
thought the lights were too bright. Look,
It's the greatest take that's ever been
yeah,
said on
I'm
this
gonna have to
show.
live
It
with
really
that, I
is.
guess, and get it brought up every single time we have a guest because I have to explain. Look,
Yeah.
I mean,
The
hey,
logic
we
was
were on
there.
the topic of NRG. I
No,
thought
like-
that it was topical.
Yeah, we had to bring it up.
You're
We didn't
sound.
even want to, yeah.
I want you to know, Finicky, you are sound. Like there was a period where they did look weak, and like you're like the expectation coming off the third party tournaments put like everyone was looking at energy and they were like, oh, so the split's already done, right? Apparently their first and then they just absolutely it was 3 or 4 weeks in a row they shit the bed. Like you have Dia, this is before he's on Pro League. He's literally we're doing power rankings he's still putting energy in his top 5. You have people on Reddit literally looking at this guy, giving him absolute hell for even considering NRG that would finish close to top 5 towards the end of playoffs, right? And it's you just have to respect the entity. Spend 2 seconds in a Sweet Dreams stream, right? And just listen to how he commands and how he dictates, specifically as a micro-oriented IGL. And it's why would you ever count them out? It just doesn't make sense.
Why would you ever?
Why rough streak right now, but the boys will come back.
right, but okay,
Jesus.
so then what's okay, no. Okay, so realistically, then why hasn't we won a LAN? That's what I'm saying at that point, right?
Yeah.
Winning a LAN is very different from making it to
true,
Sunday.
True. There's only been 2 IGLs that have done it, right? But I'm saying if NRG is considered if Sweet's considered one of the best IGLs, or people are saying the best IGL in the world, then why are you not having the results to be able to back that up? That's just my opinion. Once again, but we're not comparing Tom Brady to I don't know Joe Flacco. Oh, okay, that's not a great comparison. But okay, essentially, what I'm saying is you have to have the results in order to make the comparison, right? And so, yes, you can win all these third-party tournaments. You can win oversight. You can do all these things, but if you have not won a LAN, can you prove it on LAN? Yes, they got second place, but that's not a win, right? Hal has that over him, and like you mentioned, anyway. I sound like the biggest Sweet hater, but this is
Bro,
more
I
so.
mean,
No.
More so
Presidency
reiterating.
of the Sweet Dreams hater
No,
club?
stop.
'Cause
I don't know.
You just made a campaign
Look,
speech.
I'm just.
Dude, I do think it's kind of freaking crazy to dog on a team that finishes
I know,
second
no,
regularly at an international. That's kind of match point format, dude. Come on.
Ben said they can't win a LAN.
I'm
They're
just
done.
saying. No. Hold on. How
Ben
many?
said.
I'm pretty sure Sweet's been to almost every single LAN or every single LAN, but he hasn't. What? He had dropped on his team. He had sniped down on his team. You can't win. Are you gonna put I'm just saying, bro. This goes back a long time. This is not just one time. Hal's been doing it for a long time, and then what? Now, I don't know. And now Zero's been doing it for a long time.
Sweet's never coming on the show.
Sweet
He's
will
never
come on the
coming
show,
Bro,
and we'll have a
I-
great conversation. That's what we're doing right now.
I don't know about
But
that.
look, this is going
Bro,
back to.
I mean, you're gonna, dude. I guarantee you, there are people that go into Sweet Dreams chat and they're like, "Did you see what Ben said about you?"
I'm going to get roasted. I'm going to get roasted, but
And then there's just no shots.
I didn't. Okay, listen. Is he a top 3 IGL in the world? Absolutely. I would say that
Yes.
right now. Absolutely.
There you go.
I mean, he hasn't won a LAN yet, so I can't put him in above. Okay, that's all I was saying, really. And that was the reason why.
John Elway.
That was the reason why I'm even defending my point. Is I had to even.
He's crawdadding right now. He
Yeah.
just.
I feel like they're
crawdadding,
two different
backstepping up.
points.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's fair.
completely.
That's fair. I do have mad respect for Sweet. That's not what I'm saying. I think.
I did not think that
Look, hold on.
that me bringing up the take would turn
Okay.
into.
I also think no, hold on.
hate speech.
To be fair, Nocturnal also kind of brought it up in our interview. He talked about how he thinks that Sweet microing is the reason why his teammates don't perform to the best of their ability because he's microing them too hard. So
Okay, question. So you
did
said
say
you
that.
You did say
said
that.
you said
You did
that
say that.
Sweet Dreams. You said that Sweet Dreams was top 3
Yeah.
IGL. So you're saying that he's better than Nocturnal?
not at this current moment, I wouldn't say.
So
is
go
he,
Hal,
so is he,
Nocturnal.
so now
I go
he's
Hal,
not even in the
Nocturnal,
top
Sweet,
3.
0.
You put Sweet above 0?
Hackies.
What happened to winning lands?
Hold on. Hold on.
Bruh, what the heck?
That's not.
What
How is that a
happened to
crazy?
winning
I mean,
lands?
maybe that's.
Wait.
I'm just saying at this current moment. We didn't say overall.
At
We
this
didn't
cur-
say you just. I just said at this current.
True,
At
true.
this current moment, that's
Right
not a bad
now.
How
list.
do
Current
you-
moment.
You are crazy if you think that list is nuts. Like, are you serious?
How? No. I just think
worst.
it's just you say that like you put so much like emphasis on the fact that
Sure.
Sweet hasn't won a LAN, and then you said that he's better
I
than
just
the
said
guy
he got. I
who's
just said he just
won
got. I
two.
just said he is the second
he won
best
2 or
IGL
3?
in the world right now.
Okay.
Sweet.
We don't. Yeah, we can continue. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all right, there you
yeah,
go.
That was.
Okay, so
There
now
you go.
he's
There you go.
the crawdad. He's now sprinting in the direction of the Sweet. fandom.
Whatever, man. I
Maybe
was
he
just
will come
explaining
on
my
the
logic
show.
as to why they
Let's
weren't
go.
Sweet.
good going into last land, and I feel like that was still. It's fine.
Oh, holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
This was a fun
anyway,
segment.
yeah,
This turned
Sweet's
into
gonna,
way more fun
he'll-
than I thought.
He
it
might
was
watch
gonna
this and
be.
then he'll never come on the show. So I apologize.
He's never coming on ever
I'm sorry,
again.
Sweet. Yeah, I know
Sweet.
you hate.
To be honest, though, he
Sweet.
probably
I
won't
don't-
even
We as a
watch it.
podcast think that you could be John Elway and win your last 2
I don't-
lands. We think that could be the
It's
case.
crazy. It's crazy because people are gonna think that I just like hate him. I'm not hating. I'm critical, and I think that I think he has potential to be the best. That's what I'm saying.
That take will live in infamy.
I know,
forever because
obviously.
we just
And
went on a
I
rant.
just had to explain
I will
myself
always
for
bring
6
it up.
minutes.
To anybody who I think will think that it's like, wow, that's a terrible take, I will always bring it up if I can
Alright.
find a way.
We
And the
love
way
you,
was
Finn.
found.
We love you, Finn.
Thank you for that beautiful segment.
Okay, getting back to the interview here. Getting back on track. Zephyr, my man. We were just talking
Oh, hey,
about how are you doing?
I'm
How's your
good,
night going?
good. I don't know. I love Sweet though, man.
So we were talking about how you love the idea of the storylines going in with teams. I think we could say the same thing about storylines going in with certain players. Is there? I mean, there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
handful of beautiful, awesome, wonderful players out there
That's
who
really
are just
hard.
so good. Is there a player though that, despite if they win or they don't, they show up and they perform really well? Maybe it catapults them into a better spot. Is there a player that sticks out in your mind, one that you've seen personally kind of grow throughout this split?
Wow, that's really hard too because like I feel like for a lot of the teams there are so many entities that have like cemented themselves. Like you don't look at like 100 Thieves and think you're ever going to see the split between like Vaxxon, Amma, and Scurry, right? And so that's inherently asking me who's someone who exists on the cusp of great success and could potentially go further after a land like this. So I think the
Let me-
value. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to throw a name at you.
We've got absolutely.
We've got an up and coming IGL that we've had on the show before. He had kind of like showed himself out there, and then he performed really well in the first split. Phony from FaZe.
That was
Phony
literally
yeah.
what I was about to say. I was about to say the old ESA boys, like for sure, either the old ESA boys or the old SSG boys have individually shown throughout all of these recent like splits that even when you split them apart and pull apart these rosters, they are absurdly incredible. And I lean more towards the old ESA entities like Phony, right? Because they are more unproven than SSG. SSG had made many lambs when we had Frex dropped. I'm dropping the ball on the third one.
Zenial.
Zenial, right? And so I 100% agree. But I also feel like his value has, I almost want to say it has been recognized at this point, though, too. I feel like it's not as much as like a hot take anymore. I feel like we look at like a year ago, like back when like Phony was playing Vizio, right? And / ESA and signing on that roster and then the whole roster mix up. And like back then I would have been like, yeah. But now I feel like anything that he does from this point onwards is only an additional pseudo award to add to the success in history of a guy like Phony, right? And so obviously I'm super excited. FaZe has been though a bit questionable kind of off the second half of this split, especially into scrims as well, and it's been a bit more lost, but I still don't think that kind of diminishes the value when we start talking about this more individually, like you're saying.
Yeah, and speaking of a team, like you said, FaZe kind of dropped off near the end there. Speaking of a team that kind of did the opposite, we've got Furia, who, I mean, arguably should have won just a few lands ago.
Champs.
They were incredible, so good. And then they kind of started off slow. Obviously, I think Watson was banned for the first match day in classic Watson fashion. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed. He just memes all the time, so it's hard to tell when things are serious. But they really came on strong at the end there, and they were kind of starting to show their dominance once again. You look at a team like Furia. I mean, they if you're trying to pick a dark horse here and trying to sound like you know what you're talking about, but you don't want to just say like the classic like TSMs, NRGs, I think Furia is the way to go.
Fury's safe just because it's been rough, right? Like at the end of the day, they're still more than capable. And at that point, I don't really consider it a dark horse, given that they have had their resurgence and they are a team that has found their success previously. Obviously, Split 1 was not super cool for that roster, and that kind of led people into this kind of period of like, oh, it's the start. They kind of found the seer meta, right? And they kind of blow out like literally a tutorial on perfect edge play. And then as this meta shifts and teams adjust to that style, suddenly it's like, oh, we go to this period and everyone's like, oh, they caught up, right? So everyone now understands how to play this one out, how to be more effective in this certain style. And then suddenly the Furia stonks, they go straight down. Like people are pulling out. I mean, we were talking like money out the window, right? That doesn't matter to me. I still think individually as players alone, Watson are arguably still just as high quality in IGL. I went like not on the top 5 list, but still in North America, easily one of the best there as well. And so that paired with the slow workmanship that they have performed within this last split. I mean, I don't put them like, I see them in a final lobby for sure. That's kind of where I'm at with them right now. I don't know how they match up going into that because I kind of want to see how they address and adjust officially to international as a whole, because scrims have left me kind of a little bit more wishy-washy in that regard. But I still think we see him Sunday.
How are we feeling about complexity? Because we talked about like the former ESA team. We covered Phony with FaZe. I think Cody's one of the most talented players, point blank, period. Combine him with Luda and Monsoon. They have been just performing, especially towards the end of the season. They're another team that I felt like really found their stride. I felt like it was as soon as they put Cody on Bangalore, and then everything just started working out well for them. And so I feel like that's a team that has some heat coming into this LAN experience.
Yeah, I could see it. It's really tough though, in a sense of like where they stand in terms of everything as a whole, in my opinion, because it's arguably the least performing roster almost out of all of North America. But where does that match up in terms of the average, right? Like how, when you start thrusting EMEA and South America and APAC and all of these things, there's still some incredible rosters that do sit within that pedestal, even within the top 3 or 4, that when you mix that all together, Complexity's got a huge hill ahead of them. Even if I do think like big ups on Monsoon, long time coming, finally, great. I mean, great dude, great revival. But at the same time, it is an untested period for Luda and Cody, right? I mean, there is a lot of pressure on them to find their first foot down here at this LAN, given that it is a new experience for them. And that can be punishing. Like that is more punishing than anyone knows in terms of experience, right? Like you look at Vexed last season, arguably one of the best fighting 3v3 teams. The minute they come into LAN, just one of the shits the bed completely, lower 35. And it's like, wow, it's absurd how much pressure that kind of situation could be. And you hope Monsoon, who has that background experience, can kind of lead the way, be this light on the path in this tunnel to kind of push Luna and Cody along, because I think they're super strong. I think they have a phenomenal future when it comes to Apex as a whole. I just don't know, even with their current momentum, if this is going to be the LAN that cements them yet. It might be another split,
You talk a little bit about going into, they were near the bottom of NA, right? But then we talk about how NA is arguably the best region. I think a lot of people would say it is the best region. Let's say we get to Sunday. What is the distribution between the regions in your opinion? Because there are some great teams coming out of some of these regions, but it's hard to stack up against all of these different, EMA teams, NA teams, and then we've always kind of said APAC South has some gunners out there who are like really
Absolutely.
solid. So how do you see the distribution going on Sunday with the final teams?
I'd be surprised if we didn't see 8 teams from North America make it. 8 out of the 11 minimum. I genuinely think that the North American region is that dominant and that good at Apex Legends that anything less than 8 would be an absolute shock. You go down that list and you read me those names and you tell me otherwise, because I genuinely don't see that happening, right? And there's a couple misnomers, and obviously it's crazy to say, the misnomers in the North American region is luminosity, right? Complexity, 100 Thieves, right? The superior oxygen roster that's come through. It's like, these are still incredibly scary and dominant rosters at your bottom half of teams for your region, right? I mean, you can just barely write them off. And it's going to come down to the points in those winners brackets that really separate the difference between, 8 or potentially 10 North American teams making it.
Okay, so one region that doesn't necessarily get the most respect that we will, historically they've done really, really well, which is Apex South. I would love to talk about maybe some Onyx, maybe some Moist, and maybe Black Hand,
Sure.
maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got the opportunity to cast Apex South this split as well on Pro League. So I got to stay up for 12 hours in the middle of the night and do my due alongside Genome there for a little bit. You guys are right. I mean, Apex South historically has been a very strong region. We saw 4 out of the 5 teams from last LAN make it into that finals lobby, which is the reason right now they still retain 5 of those spots, right, for them, and arguably should, in my opinion, maybe have a little bit more after a performance like this. Personally, I mean, we've seen some slight shifts. Onyx is still the same Onyx, 7th last LAN. I have high respect for them, but they still were finishing 2nd. So that kind of gives you a general idea. If you they haven't changed in terms of positioning in Apex South, so they haven't gotten better or worse. So they're still going to be relatively potentially middling. Moist to say has been an absurd roster, arguably the strongest coming out of there. And I could easily put them on a top 5 of the day of, on a good day of there. But I want to pay my respects. Obviously, you bring up Black Hand as well. Strafing Flame with that major change, which was previously, I believe, Iron Blood Gaming in the last team, which that was a shock for everybody. I don't know if you guys remember, Iron Blood Gaming was the dominant factor. And then out of nowhere, they go to scrims, they go into LAN, nothing, right? And it was absurd. Especially for the quality of those players. So even though that happens, a little bit of a change, Strafing comes through. Black Hand leaves North America. They signed that roster, obviously in South, or my apologies, Apex South. And they've come through just as strong. I think they're a little bit more of an aggro fighting team, but still being in a region like Apex South that can find its success. I don't know how it's going to match up when you put them in a serious championship or playoffs level lobby. I feel like that kind of style play gets punished more. I lean more towards your Moists and Onyx, who have a more stereotypical pace of play. And then obviously Dreamfire, they've had their come up for a really long time. Obviously some great stuff we've seen out of them. MDY White was my team to watch. I said they were going to make 5th and be the 5th place team. And then obviously 2 weeks later they did. So I was super impressed by them when I got the opportunity to cast. I can't exactly pinpoint why, but there was just something about the quality of that roster that pushed me to believe in them. And so, I mean, they're all successful in their own individual ways. I don't know if I'd put them up there and oh, they rival Alliance and TSM and we're going to be seeing, but you never know, right? I mean, there's a reason we watched Dark Zero win 2 lands.
Moving away
/reignite.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Moving away from the regions a little bit and moving more into the groups. I mean, these are the teams that you're being matched up against at all times. So we've got 4 nutty groups here. You look at all of these. I got to ask, which one do you think is the strongest?
Jeez. Okay, my eyes immediately drift to Group C, and I'm not just a fan of TSM, right? It's really tough in competitive Apex because things can shift literally on a day's notion, and I could even say Group A is just as strong as Group C when you've got Energy and Alliance in there. But in terms of recent form factor success and just general potential, between having TSM coming through and obviously that threat, you have Ascend, previous entity, literally has performed every single land thus far between Postkill Kashera, right? So some of the most returning factors from the EMEA region, now alongside Lufka, right? Vexed, a terrifying team. Fnatic, like literally the most star-studded APAC North roster that now has brought Umi-chan in from, I think, what was previously FC Destroy, and who is also here as well, but now so like previous rosters now competing against are very fun. I always love those narratives. But they get that kind of buff, and then and it's like, okay, so then who are your weak faces, right? MDY White, who I just praised, right? Pulverex, who had their incredible run as a duo at the championship, right? The complexity we just discussed. Optic, the dropped Optic this split. I think I could make an argument for C, and there's definitely maybe a secondary one for A.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm taking C all day.
Yeah, I think we're.
That's just it's too stacked.
It's just too good. There you go.
Perfect.
You guys got to
no,
know?
no. Well, I was just gonna see the argument. I think the argument could also be made for. Well, no, I think A. No, I think A. Yeah, you're right. I think A is probably. That's my pick, but I also think C is just as stacked too, especially with Optic, which is another team that I think we could talk about. And I want to get into a little bit of Vex. Do you think? Okay, first question. Since you have a lot of EMEA experience and you've probably watched this team quite a bit, do you think Vex has a legitimate, like an actual legitimate chance to win LAN, or do you think that they don't have that it factor just yet? Or do you think that there needs to be a roster move, or like do you think basically what I'm saying is, do you think Matafe is holding him back?
Damn, why would you say that? Wow, like I like how it slowly leans towards the very obvious question you're about to ask. We went from how's Vex doing to everyone asks about Matafe. Everyone dishes and dines. By the way, terrible choice to Bigby. This is my favorite team in all of Apex Legends. I'm a super Vexed fanboy, so it's all bias over here. I don't know, man. That roster has been tried and tested for so long here, and I think very similarly to what I was just discussing with Black Hand, it's like they came into the previous playoffs being like this, wow, we've got it, like Vexed is terrifying, right? And I mean, between Tyler and Lucky being these absurd fraggers who literally can 2v3 the potential of globally rutted, star-studded rosters, then they get into these international pseudo like final lobbies, and it's like that's not the case, right? That kind of aggro tempo and play doesn't quite sail similarly, and I'm the first to admit that, and I'm like a super fanboy, right? I mean, they really couldn't do it, so they change it, right? They aren't screwing around with some of the switch up on the legends going into the first or the next split. They immediately start changing it. Their zone potential. Do I think Matafe is holding them back? If we're just looking at damage, sure. We can talk all day about how Matafe doesn't hold a candle, right, to Tyler and what Lucky you're doing, but that's not his role. Just like Tech sits in drone, right? I mean, there is an optimal path for what he does and how he commands this roster. And clearly it works in EMEA. And to say just because of the international lack of success that they haven't found that it should kind of be that change, it doesn't feel right? Especially because, one, we haven't seen how this play style adapts to this new international lobby, right? And we haven't gotten the opportunity to see how they perform when they are now equalized with a little bit of that LAN experience behind themselves. It isn't the first time for Tyler anymore and Unlucky, right? They have at least the one from the previous playoffs, which I think is, once again, a really big deal. right? Maybe in a split down the line, if this happens again, I mean, it's a discussion more about EMEA and where they're currently at, as well as a few other things. But maybe that's when you see that roster split apart. But those guys have been through thick and thin. And I mean, they have literally turned down so many individual offers from other teams just to stick together. So I feel like the chemistry alone is so impactful, and that it's like one of those cemented rosters. You'd never split what you currently see of Hal, Reps, and Verhulst. I wouldn't do the same to Vexed.
Optic Gaming last split doesn't look very strong. They make some changes, and they ended up bringing on a drop from SSG, which is a super solid pickup for them instead of Dupe. Now they kind of started off a little rocky, but they have kind of come on strong and became kind of a consistent face in the split too. So I would love for your like obviously this team has some really star-studded talent and has kind of showcased individually that they can do well at LAN. But do you think this team is a dark horse to win LAN?
Cop out answer. In the threat of match point format, always, right? In all seriousness, obviously you've kind of made mention of it. It isn't the same weak Optic that we saw when we were kind of having the struggle and bit of flow with Duplex through that split one area, and obviously then into the growing pains of bringing Dropped on, right? And I think they have, as you've made mention of, really come into a very stable period here now where, I mean, some of the highest performing damage oriented, one of the few rosters that literally tops the board in terms of picking up that KP and damage at the end of the day, even when they have double M and K, which is crazy to discuss right now. I'm not going to get into that, but it still is. It just goes to show what they are capable of. Now, obviously, I don't have the biggest background in terms of the comms and what the kind of vibe is behind that roster. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I feel they are stable from what I have seen from them, at least previously within this LAN. But once again, it is a testing period, right? Optic has been on the downslope when we talk about international play. Is Dropped the answer, right? Arguably for North America, he was. And if he is for North America, I mean, it is a very strong case for internationally as well here. Do I think they win it all? They definitely they are definitely in that finals lobby, and they are definitely putting points up on the day of. Can they put together the wins necessary? I mean, it will literally come down to the wire of how this team interacts under the pressure, which is arguably something that hasn't been. It is a question. It's one of the many questions that we have about so many of these teams.
Okay.
Were you gonna hit yours?
Nah, mine's like a fairly like different off topic.
Oh,
thing.
is it like near the end?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
that's fun.
Okay. I got
so
it. I got one.
I have okay. You rip one and then I'll go.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now this question is going to be very hard to ask. And I know the second I ask it, you're going to be like, why did you put me in this spotlight? Because it really is difficult with how this is. You watch any sort of sport and you get to playoff
Right.
time. There's teams who are in the playoffs, but you just know there's like 3 that could win the whole thing. Now, in a BR, there's so many aspects. Match point format especially makes it this way.
Yep.
So many things can change and make it to where a team just comes out of nowhere and wins it all. But if you had to put an S tier of teams that were just like, these are the teams that are probably going to win, however big or small it may be for you, who are those S tier teams?
Okay. We haven't discussed them yet, but Xset right now is in a whole different state of success. Can't write them off. Haven't discussed them. Alliance, arguably one of the most winningest teams, which is the most important factor when we talk about coming through, and have also been on their best strides forward. Those two for sure, but I feel like those are like super easy answers in terms of where we are right now. Oh man. That's tough.
Would you
Dude.
throw TSM in there with where they are currently?
Ooh, that's such a good question. What? Yeah, that's a.
Because, you know, like
feel
we talked about.
It's like it's not like it's such like a fanboy thing to say yes, like in a sense of just like everyone rips on this. Like it's like it's the reason like John gets harassed for literally always vouching for TSM, right? I mean, but you just have to, right? It's like it's 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 the same reason I never blink twice about NRG. It's the same reason I never blink twice about Ascend, right? Even though these rosters performances recently have been kind of like, like we had a rough TSM split where we almost thought they weren't going to go, right? But then it's like scrims have been crazy. Defending a POI for almost the entire half of scrims and still delivering the highest point in the threshold, as you know, grain of salt as scrims are. It's like, yeah, I S tier is like S tier for me feels like absolutely sure. Would I put TSM on the absolutely sure roster right now? Given their history, yes. And the number one reason for that alone is their history, because when it came down to it, it has always been the answer.
So right now in your S tier, you said Ascend, TSM, and
Alliance.
Alliance, TSM,
Xset.
and Xset. Is there anybody else you throw in there?
For winning it all.
No DZ.
No, I don't think DZ.
There we go.
I respect DZ, but I'm still tentative on Zainu and seeing what that kind of new transition for that roster will be. And to be honest, it's been a great performance in North America. I'm like, man, I sound like a Dark Zero hater right now. But like, in terms of the dominance that was the Reignite / Dark Zero era APAC South, it is a very different roster. And I don't feel as confident saying they win it all, right? There's a couple questions, obviously coach change, etc. That's a huge thing. Literally on the last minute
dude, crazy. Can you talk about that?
Like behind the scenes, behind PvPX, like, whoa, like that's I hate talking about it because it's like I'd never want to dig on players. I respect everybody in this scene as much as I can, but I always hate when I see things like that happen, especially like for PV. Like, you'll never know the true story, and it's not our place to talk about it, but I always do hate the very short tempoed stuff, especially like before major events like this, because it feels very rocky, right? And it's like, it's not great.
Not even for just that aspect, but if we just take just roster moves in general into account, Dark Zero changed their roster like 17 times before we even got to this point with different players, now the coach. So I just wonder how that holds up when you get into a LAN environment where it's just like everything has changed in the final month and a half, you know?
And it's like, it says a lot about Zero, by the way. Like, we can talk about the rockiness of that roster, but it'll always be reaffirmed by the incredible nature of Zero to lead that team, right? And it's like, maybe that's what does it for him. But right now, I don't put them in my super confident tier, right? I look at Xset, I look at Alliance, I look at TSM. Ascend has been looking rough in scrims, so they kind of take the backseat for me too, even though this is my absolute tier. Then you have like entities like Dark Zero, like Ascend, right? Energy, like right there. I feel like they're all just like on that line of me being like, they don't quite have the it there, but I still think like we're seeing them walk away like second or third place, guaranteed. I don't know about the win, but definitely.
All right. Beautiful. I was going to try to make you say the bottom tier of those teams, but I'm going to spare you that. I'm going to spare you that.
I can if you'd like.
If you want to shoot for it. Usually people try to avoid that. They don't want to hurt no feelings. But if you want to get into that, I mean, if we had to go bottom tier, who would it be?
Like basically teams that don't make it to Sunday is what you're trying to say. Like they'll be first.
Well, 20 of them don't. 20 teams do not.
So. Mid Saturday they get eliminated, right? So they'd be the bottom 10, I guess.
I feel like This is almost like, so this is the opposite. The teams I definitely think are going to be on the not likely to make it. For sure, Go Next Esports. I'm sorry, guys. I have to like preface this with like I'm sorry on every single call out because I know so many of these dudes personally too from running the tournaments. I feel like such an ass. Go Next, FC Destroy for sure. Because they've had really rough roster moves, and I love Pino, but I mean it's going to be very, very close. South America as a whole always has it going for them. I'll live today to die. I respect the region, but like at least half of them. Oh man, Crazy Raccoon probably performs. I respect Pulverex, so they probably make it. Start a Fight doesn't. Noct will make it. Entropic, sure. Riddle probably not. Oh man,
This is one that kind of stands out to me.
FaZe probably not.
Really?
I think after what I casted as I casted the Steel Series tournament. Yeah,
It looks like they're not gelling right now. Like they just haven't been playing together.
That looked way too chaotic for me to be supportive of that roster. Aurora might be in a really rough spot because they just lost Sunset. No Sunset and back with Maliwan. Granted, they have a huge history with Maliwan, so it's like they'll probably be okay, but that could always be a stressor.
How do you feel about Luminosity?
It's weird. Like highest point standing almost in terms of scrims right now, if I'm correct. But I always feel like they perform super duper well in those lobbies that you can capitalize on mistake and like they're by far like one of the scariest rosters to take in a 3v3 situation, right? And that's why I hesitate to say they're absolutely not part of the last 20 of finals. Because you never know, right? It has been a rough season for them in North America as everyone's kind of playing a little bit more tempo, and with that comes a wealth of extra risk. But, we go into those semi lobbies and things are a little bit more restrained. They sneak their way through. I think Luminosity definitely has a chance. I don't think they're finishing 25th, 26th, 27th. I absolutely do not, right? Maybe it's like a 33rd, or my apologies. Maybe it's like a 23rd or 24th. But good performance, they'd make it. It's tough. I don't like talking too much about APAC North, just given my lack of knowledge per se. So I don't like to pick on them too much. I'm sure there's other individuals out there who are very quick to be like, "Oh, Naked isn't making it," etc. So we'll have to wait and see there. I apologize.
You're good. Okay. So let's do a top. I don't know why. What do you think? Top 5? You want to do a top 5 prediction, and then a dark horse?
Do you want to hit him with? Do you want to hit him with the
double tap?
Fuck, what's it called?
Double tap.
Double tap.
Hit him with the double tap. Then we'll get predictions to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so it's just a segment. So we do. I'll say like a statement, and then you'll answer it with one word or however many that it requires to say it, and then we'll just we'll go back to back. You ready?
I'll try. I'm very slow.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Number 1, hardest thing about getting into casting.
Momentum.
Number 2, best team from APAC North.
Fnatic.
Number 3, season 17 Apex.
Is that the current season?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Number 4, most busted gun in comp Apex.
R999.
And number 5, your top 5 for LAN. This one we can talk about. This we can talk about.
If you could do this one,
we can just talk about that one. But it just kind of led into that.
If he did that in one
Do you
word,
think
that would be
the
incredible.
R99's more OP than the Nemi?
The Nemi? Oh, that's a good one. I'm sorry. I'm so like hinged on the SMG meta right now that like I feel like the bane of what currently exists in terms of why the legends we have are picked and everything is because of the SMGs. And the Nemesis sneaks its way in because as an AR, it's just very good in multiple facets. So I definitely, I respect the argument, like for sure, absolutely. But in an SMG meta, I'm going to cater towards whatever the SMGs are. And also,
That's fair.
yeah, you know, it's the reason Gibraltar's gone. I miss Big Gibby. Bring back shotgun meta. What am I thinking of? Okay, you guys, top 5. Exet, I think this is their day. I think it's been a long time coming. I think Exet win it. I think Exet win it. I think you've got TSM NRG somewhere in the mix right there. Alliance as well. And then I say a toss up between Ascend, Fnatic, Moist for last 5th spot.
Okay. Now, we need a surprise team that is not there on Sunday.
Surprise team that's not there on Sunday?
Maybe a team that's like a household name that all of a sudden just doesn't
Be
make
careful.
it. Let's just
You
say, for
might
instance,
get.
I don't know,
Hold on. Hold on. Be careful because then you might get.
We're putting him on the spot here.
might
We're
go-
putting him on the spot here. Yours was
It might
voluntary.
be on you for the rest of your life.
Nah,
Guys,
you get a pass, clearly.
I'm a professional caster. For the last 5 years, everything I have said has been under a spotlight constantly. My DMs have been muted for a long, long time. 100 Thieves. For
there
sure.
We go. There we go. 100 Thieves. Okay.
Sure.
And then your dark horse to win it all.
Vex, baby!
Let's go.
Oh, the bias. The bias. Yeah.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
I
You
have
did.
to.
You did warn us.
I did warn y'all. The boys are gonna come through.
All right,
So
man,
what led to your vexed? What led to that being like your team?
Do you have 6 minutes?
Yes.
we got it.
Got it. All right. Oh, man. Tyler is in a weird spot. He is kicked off of New Esports. This is the roster that goes on to form Ascend, a legendary team alongside Kasher and Postkill. He was the 3rd, dropped, right? In the setup during year 2, he gets a very small chance to go into Pro League and play alongside Young Money Guild, a no-name, no-nothing team. I think it was Next and Evoke who formed the secondary members for this. They are 39th in a spot of relegation. On the very last day of play, they, in absurd precedent, finish 2nd overall, I believe, in their performance. That pushes them out of relegation by, I think, literally 1 placement that keeps them in Pro League for Split 2. That roster evolves. They bring Unlucky on alongside Evoke. They become Mutarium. Mutarium doesn't flesh out entirely. Bosch forms after Mutarium dies. Matafe comes in after the guild roster dissolves. They form the trifecta that goes on to compete as Team Bosch that literally almost win every single third-party EMEA tournament. And then Vexed re-enter the Apex scene, sign this roster, and they have been dominant for the last 2 splits. And the most important factor is all, my very first Pro League cast, the very first match I ever casted, was the day that Young Money Guild finished 2nd in their specific series. I got to be the guy who got to start what I believe is one of the most incredible butterfly moments for a roster that could hinge on success whether you love them or hate them.
There we go. It's
Well
beautiful.
said.
Beautiful.
And so, the question that one of the questions I wanted to ask, and it goes into what you just briefly touched on third-party EMEA tournaments. And so that is an area that doesn't have a ton of them, and one that was put on by you yourself. And so if you could touch on that give us a little rundown and let everybody know, like, what led you to do it? How was it putting all of it together? How did it go?
Yeah.
And just overall experience with it. Because we've had a lot of people on the show, but I think you're the first one who put on his, Dalton put on his own show, but like, you're in a very small company of individuals who have thrown their own Apex Legends tournament.
Yeah. I appreciate that, by the way. It's very kind to bring that up, because it's definitely, it's a very unsung thing. It's a big deal like when you kind of announce it, but after a while it's almost like expected, right? And I think that's okay. It doesn't bother me too much. Amiya has always been in a really rough spot, like the second child, right? And like let's not even get into the other regions because they also struggle in their own right. But as a whole, esports is like a drain. Like you throw money at it, it disappears, right? And so the concept of third-party tournaments, as alongside what we've seen globally in the economy, have slowly kind of went like this, right? And obviously, as someone who is, yes, a caster, but definitely someone who considers himself a friend of so many of these players, especially the EMEA region, because that's where I got my start. I cast a challenger circuit for them for a very long time. It genuinely hurts to see like individuals like Shiv, right, just like stop competing because the level of stress and the necessary involvement for something that arguably doesn't give back, right? And in so many ways, and so many other entities who like you get to hear them talk about like behind the scenes, like it literally is a day-to-day thing, like some of them working and then coming home scrimming for 6-8 hours, and then suddenly your region for the last like 3-4 months doesn't have a single third party tournament, like literally nothing. And so I have always been, I don't know, a very romantic guy, and I believe that emotionally you just do it, right? Because that's what they deserve, right? And if it means helping someone out in some way and continuing to grace someone's ability to play in Apex, that works for me, right? And so I took roughly $12,000 of my own money, which then became $15,000 because I didn't factor in production costs. Took $15,000 of my own money, put it aside, I just hosted it. And it's that simple. I used to be a broadcast coordinator 3 years ago, so I do have experience running tournaments previously in League of Legends. So it wasn't that crazy to get into it, especially when you work in esports for as long as I have. You know a bunch of producers, you know observers, you know everybody, right? So putting together the team to make it happen was very, very easy. It was just taking the step, because no one takes the step. No one puts the money where their mouth is and makes it happen, right? And for someone who wants EMEA to thrive and wants them to succeed, you got to be that guy. It's that simple. Even if it means spending $15,000.
It's a cool story. Thank you.
And not even just for the region, but also just the game, like growing the game as well. Because I mean, there's so many esports right now, but not too many can last. A good amount of lifetime. You look at
4
some
years.
of these. Yeah, I mean, 4 years now, and we're still kicking and screaming, and it seems like we're going to continue to go on. And keep moving. So not only just the region, but to keep the game of Apex moving along. I mean, it's incredible. That's a great story.
Yeah. So I hope someone out there in EMEA has done better. I mean, I rarely get to hear about it anymore, just given how busy I am. But I hope someone from winning one of those tournaments has done better and will continue. We've done 4 of them thus far, $8,000 already given away, etc. Yada yada yada. You know. That works. I'd love to be sponsored, but I don't expect to be sponsored. When I wrote off that money, I knew it was gone. I knew in December when I made that decision that I was throwing it in the drain. I told that to EA. I said, I'm going to throw my paychecks in the drain at EMEA. Enjoy.
Yeah, that's awesome though. I mean that takes a crazy amount of dedication, and I think that just goes to show, if we look back on this in 20 years and we're still here and this sport is still going and Apex is still thriving, you look back on people like you who took the extra step to keep the thing going, because there's a lot of times, there's a lot of crossroads, whether it be the NFL or ALGS. Like there's crossroads at all of those different moments. So yeah, really great job by you, and it's an awesome story, and I hope more people out there try to do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
just for the sake of the sport.
Thank you. My goal is to dive into content creation, and if I start making a little bit money there, it's going to go right back to the community immediately.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Zephyr, it's been awesome having you on.
Whoa,
This has
I
been
gotta go.
Oh, yep. I
Come
almost
on
cut
now.
you off again. This is the second time.
That's crazy.
I'm leaving this in. We're documenting. I almost cut Enoch off again.
All right.
Enoch, ask your
So
question,
Zephyr, as far as casting goes, you definitely would have to be in the top 1% of people out there with all of the success you've had and the positions that you've held. And so in that journey, I'm sure that you've learned a ton to get to where you're at. And so what is the biggest thing and the biggest piece of advice that you, throughout your journey to get to where you're at, that you could give someone that, regardless of the field that they were trying to become the top 1% in, that would be useful in them getting there?
Ooh. No one gives a shit about you, and it is completely up to you to drive your own success. Never expect anything from anyone, and push yourself to be the very best individual that you can be, because at the end of the day, while support is always lovely, it comes down to you. So if that means the extra grind, the extra time, the extra gig, whatever it is, there is only one person that affects what you are capable in this world. Truly, when we get down to the bare basics of what you own and have in life, it is you. And that is the most important thing. You have to push yourself to the absolute limit, no matter what your dream, passion, or desire is. Because if you don't, no one's going to be there to pick you up when you don't make it or make it happen for you. And it sucks. It sucks a lot, because it's one of the hardest things to do, to realize that ultimately you are alone in so many ways. And grinding when you are alone is very, very taxing.
There we go. That's awesome. And once again, like I was saying, man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Lots of great insight, and I'm really excited that we got a lot of EU insight, because typically we mostly just talk
about North America.
Yeah,
sorry guys.
No, it's what we know, and a lot more people have been asking to hear more. So it's awesome that you could bring that insight, and you also brought it with all the other regions as well. So we really appreciate you having you on, and I mean, we're going to be locked in, loaded, and if any of your predictions are wrong, we're going to send you the craziest DMs, and it's just gonna go crazy.
That's
It's
okay.
just
Delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
That's right. But nothing will be as crazy as Energy not making it to Sunday. Zephyr, thanks for hopping on the show. Thank you so much. We'll hopefully we'll talk to you again soon, and yeah, for another prediction. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, that was our guy Zephyr hopping on the show, breaking it down for us, talking ALGS Split 2 land. Lots of juicy information right there. If you didn't know who your top 5 was going to be before that interview, you probably definitely have an opinion now, and who you think could be a top 5 going into this this upcoming land. We want to hear from you guys. Like I said, there will be a tweet out, so you guys can tweet us your top 5 below on that tweet. See how close you can get to getting all of them correct. Now, we're going to get into the heart to heart here. But before we get into heart to heart, I want to do something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is going through all of the team logos and picking out which I think are the best ones here, because we have some juicy ones. We've got some solid ones. I'm going to start off with, I just picked out 5 here, but there are some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention here is Luminosity Gaming. The reason why, I've told you guys, I'm on a big, big, big soccer kick. And all of our EMEA listeners out there are going to get mad. They're going to call it football. I grew up a certain way. I'm going to call it soccer. Just like you guys call an apartment a flat. You guys aren't going to switch it up. You're going to call it a flat. I'm going to call it an apartment. That's just how it goes. That's how we do things. It's okay. That's fine. I'm going to call it soccer. And this logo is so cool because they decided to switch up like the name. Instead of just being Luminosity Gaming, they switched it up to LG Chivas, which is like an ode to soccer. And then in the logo, they made it look very soccer-like. It's like a little crest, little circle. LG Chivas de Guadalajara Esports. And then it has the luminosity little logo on the inside right there. Very cool. Didn't break the top 5 because the one thing that kind of sucks about soccer is their logos don't get too wild, don't get too crazy. It's usually like a circle, a square, like a little flag, something. Not too often do you see a crazy soccer logo. You're like, oh my God, like that just blew your mind. It doesn't happen very often. So that's why it is an honorable mention. The other honorable mention here is Black Hand. It's just neat. Like, you could tell they put some effort into it. There are some logos in here that look like they're just lines and triangles. I'm looking at you, North Eption. I apologize. I'm sure, you guys probably think it's nice, and I'm sure, on some things it looks cool, but it's just a bunch of lines in a triangle. So Black Hand, they definitely tried a little bit, put like a mean looking skull with the circle behind it, the name Black Hand Esports. I like it. I think it's neat. It's clean. It's nice. Okay, real top 5 here. We're going to start it off with Moist Esports. Now, some people might say, what? It's just an M with a little droplet of water. It is. You're correct. But I also just like the way the colors reflect off of one another. The dark black, the dark blue. It looks kind of neat. I like it. I think it's neat. And I think this might have to do with the fact that Waltzy's been on the show and I really like him. And it just kind of stands out. This color blue, I think, is what caught my eye. Looks good to me. Also, you'll notice in this list, I didn't really go with too many traditional, esport logos. Like there's FaZe Clan obviously is in here. Optic Gaming, you could say those are iconic, kind of like a Pittsburgh Steelers or a Green Bay Packers. I stayed away from those. I wanted to go with something new on the horizon, brand new. Okay, number 4, I went with Furia. I've always liked Furious. I think it's really cool. I like the introduction of some sort of like panther cat thing. I like it. I think it's neat. I think I put them on the list last year as well. It's a mean-looking panther. I like how they left it mean. There are some teams, like in the NHL, the Florida Panthers had one of the coolest logos with the panther jumping out at you, trying to attack you, and then they made it docile. They put it on like a little shield and made it just sit there, look all nice and neat. I want to see a panther getting mad. I want to see it screaming, yelling, trying to kill something. I like that that's what Furia did. Moving on into number 3, they were on the list last year as well. Fire Beavers. The name really makes the logo. You can do a lot with fire beavers. There's a beaver clearly on fire in this logo. The colors reflect it. It's just in flames. It's got the beaver teeth, which is just the iconic part of this entire logo. Gotta have the teeth. It's a beaver. That's what it does. But it's just a nice looking beaver with fire all over it. Can't go wrong there. Then, second, Noctem Esports. There's a lot of things to love about this one. There's a lot of detail in it. It's a big, big owl. It's part purple. Yeah, it's part purple, and then half of it is also just white and black. But it's just the intricacy of the owl. You can see just about every single feather. It's flying towards you. It looks angry. It looks like it's ready to fight. I like it. I just like a lot of esports logos are pretty basic, pretty simple. This one says, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go a little bit different, and that's why I like it so much. And the last one mixes all of my favorite things. The crazy raccoons. You've got a mean-looking animal, which I already told you about with Furia and Noctem. With the raccoon, it looks mean. It's got red in its eyes. It's growling. It's ready to fight. But it's also got a nice color scheme. It contrasts with with itself. It's got the bright red with the dark black, and then it's got the intricacies of the raccoon. You can see all the little fur poking out. Then you have the tail, which is an iconic part of a raccoon. You've got the claws sitting on right above the crazy part of crazy raccoons. And then you have like a cool little shield, which I brought up with LG. It's just bringing all of this together. It looks nice. If you had that on a t-shirt, if you had that on a jersey, it would look like it belonged. I love it. Crazy Raccoons is my number 1 pick. Those are my favorite logos heading into LAN split number 2. Thank you guys for tuning in. Most of you probably skipped it, and that's okay, because logos are just logos. That's all they are. They don't tell a story, but to me they do, and I love these logos. Ladies and gents, let's hit a quick ad, and on the other side, the heart-to-heart. All right. Ladies and gents, it is heart to heart time. Heart to heart time. Does anybody want to go first? No? No?
I
Wyatt,
haven't. Well,
What
no.
you got?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
Wyatt.
dude. All right. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it as boys. Let's start with the good news first. Let's go good news first. I got into the little Riverside meeting, and I was like, I did something that I've never done before in my life. Went to the gym. We finished the interview, and I was like, dude, I'm tired of being a pipsqueak little bitch. And I was like, I've never worked out. I've never tried it. I've always been like, nah, that's not for me. Whatever, I'll get strong some other way. That doesn't happen. So I was like, I'll just, I'll go to the gym. And so I got everything on. It was 10 p.m. I was like, there's only one gym nearby that stays open till midnight. And so I drove down there, signed up for a membership, took about 45 minutes because the guy accidentally inputted my birthday as January 13th, 1966. If I was born in 66, that would be a miracle that I look like this. But I was born in 96, not 66. So we had to fix that. Took forever. Then I had to change the phone number. That took another, dude, it was just forever. And the guy was like, I felt bad for him. Like, he thought I was like mad at him. I really just genuinely did not care because I'm staring down the barrel of working out for the first time, something I've never done. I'd be like, oh, I guess the universe didn't want me to, but I stuck with it. I said, no, I'm going to do it. So I did. I didn't know what to do. So I just went on a treadmill, and I didn't want to look stupid on any of the machines. So what I did was I just walked to the treadmill and I put the incline on like 15, and then I put the speed up to like 3.5, 4. And I was just like, I looked like I was just running up a hill. I'll probably look like an idiot, but I was like, I just want to observe other people use the machines so I don't look like a jackass and I'm not on some, like gym page where it's like, look at this guy and he's doing some workout super weird. So that's what I did. And I felt good. About 40 minutes and 27 seconds I was on that machine. And I left the incline on the entire time. And when I tried to like walk again, like on flat ground, took a little bit of adjusting. So that was my gym experience. I'm happy that I finally took a step outside of my comfort zone and decided to do it. The bad thing here is that when I was describing this to everybody, I was like, yeah, I'm just happy I went. I was like, I'm tired of people, being like, oh, you're so small, like blah, 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 blah. And I said the comment, I'm tired of being a 5'6", 140-pound pipsqueak. And there was an awkward silence. And then Enoch goes, Wyatt, you're 5'6"? I go, yeah, I'm 5'6". And it's a question that you never want to answer, but it's there. It's there. Enoch thought I was 6 foot. I wish. I would give anything. But I am 5'8" in the morning before gravity compresses me down. About noon, I go back to 5'7". 2 o'clock, I'm 5'6" again. So that's how it works. That's science.
You sure? You sure that's how that works?
I don't want to look it up. We looked up enough with big plastic.
That's fair. Big
coffee.
Plastic. Yeah.
Let's just
That's
pretend. I think maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson said something about it. I don't know. Bill Nye probably. We'll just leave it there.
He's an engineer.
We did a lot of Googling
and
today.
an actor.
Sheldon, young Sheldon. I think he said something.
Young Sheldon.
Yeah. So yeah, we're good. But yeah, so I am 5'6". It's unfortunate. It's a curse. It's a curse. But the way I like to see it was I just had to be nerfed, because if I was any taller, wouldn't be fair. It'd be like Seer in the
That's true.
meta. That's how I like to see it. That's my heart to heart this week, boys. Went to the gym, worked out. I'm also 5'6".
Okay, look, mine's
Can't work
short
that out.
Well, yeah, and that's unfortunate. I guess we could. There's surgery to like get.
No,
taller,
I think it involves
No.
breaking your legs.
it
and then
involves
them
breaking. Nah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, never
Nah,
mind.
If anything,
Yeah,
just do
my
a lot
bad.
of, so just
My bad.
start stretching and start reaching really high
Yeah.
and do like
I've heard stretching
shoulder
before you go to
hangs.
sleep is really
do
good.
shoulder
for that.
hangs and do all that and just start thinking of yourself as a taller individual and see what happens.
Do you think if I just laid down for a year straight, it would add like just an inch from gravity just
No,
constantly?
I think it would just
Okay.
wreck your body just on all levels of just straight inertia, just sitting there.
Yeah,
a whole body just at rest. Your
just a
muscles
thought.
would be chalked.
Yeah, science happens when somebody has a thought. So I just thought I'd wing that one out there, throw it, see where it lands. Okay, all right, there we go. We figured it out. Heart to heart. Anybody else?
My heart to heart is similar to yours, Wyatt.
You're 5'6".
It's about the gym, and I'm getting back into the gym. I know
Yes.
I've gone in and out of the gym about like 3 or 4 times since this podcast has started. But you know what? That's
It
part of
happens.
life.
It's a
right?
relatable
That's
experience.
literally part of life. So I'm back in it again. The good thing for me is while I haven't been in the gym recently, I have kind of kept it I've kept myself in a healthier spot than I normally am before I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get in the gym. So I've got more momentum going into this gym cycle is what I'm trying to say. So I'm very excited about that. We'll keep updates as long as Wyatt keeps his updates as well. So deal. E, do you got anything for this week or?
Yeah, I would say that I'm a big fan of like being authentic and being like the most authentic version of yourself. And I like to think that I'm a pretty authentic individual, but there's definitely things that I haven't previously talked about that are fairly controversial just because of the point of like now even wanting to like have those discussions. But I think in the not so distant future, I'm gonna just be my authentic self, just openly and just genuinely just not caring about what people think. And so it'll be a nice test for me of putting that to the test and seeing like, do I really mean it when I say that? And so we'll see. I might be getting a little bit controversial up in the not so distant future. And so we'll see where this goes. But it should be a fun little journey.
Yeah, I think it's like the true test of being a content creator is being able to be comfortable with like having your thoughts out there because not too many do. Like it's very middle lined through, most of it. It's very like you don't really hear too many people's like legit opinions. Seems like a lot of like internet stuff, No, I respect it. I respect the hell out of it.
Well, you haven't heard what I think yet.
Well,
we'll see.
We've had talks. Okay. You guys got anything else? Anything else at all? Are you guys excited?
I'm so excited. That's what I was gonna say. I'm just ready for Thursday. I'm ready to pretty much by the time I am up and probably watching, it's going to be close to like probably the 3rd session of games, like a set of games. So I'll be able to go back and watch group 1, group 2. Like I'm a little nervous about that. Not nervous, but like I don't want to be spoiled. So I'm going to be very cautious on Thursday, getting on Twitter, getting on Twitch, everything. So make sure you're doing the same if you don't want spoilers, because if you're North American, it's going to be almost done the first day, or pretty much every single day. It's going to be almost done by the time people are going up and going to work type of deal. So just be cautious of that. What, it starts, do we have the times of that?
It's like 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m. It starts at 4 a.m.
That's for you guys too, huh?
Yeah,
that's
Central,
for
right?
Yeah, so that would be even earlier, I think, for me, right?
Is it? That'd be 2 a.m. for you, maybe?
Yeah. I'll be at the
I
gym.
think. What's his? Who's the guy that does the 1v1s? E. Why can't I not think of his name?
What you mean?
He does the 1v1 tournaments.
Tech?
No.
G-Dolph?
G-Dolph, that's it. He had it on his Switch.
G-Dolphin.
My bad. Let me see. Okay, he tweeted out. Here we go. It starts Thursday, of course. C versus D is at 10 a.m. BST. I'm guessing that's British Standard Time. Is that it? Maybe. And then A versus B is 2:15 p.m. BST, and then A versus C 6:30 p.m. BST.
Okay.
So, wow, yeah.
It's going to be a
we
grind. to
maybe I
watch
should
these.
steal this. Honestly, I'm gonna steal this and put this on our John.
Do it.
Are we giving credit, or are we just straight copy pasting?
No. I mean, it's a graphic that I think he got. Look,
Did he
we'll
tweet
give
it?
him credit. Hold on, we'll give him credit. We'll give him credit. Come on,
There we go.
come on. You
That'd
guys
be
just
so
added
funny.
me like on the pod.
Hey.
That's actually crazy.
That'd be so funny if he's like, "Why the fuck are you tweeting me about this?"
But also
It's a-
credit
it's
your
a public
sources.
graphic. Yeah. Oh shit, that's funny. Okay, yeah. All right. Anything else, boys? Let's wrap this
Yeah.
bad boy up.
Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gents, we are finally here. It is time. We've got news. We've got stuff to talk about. We're going to have storylines. We're going to have all of the different things, all of the different teams. It will be a blast. We are finally here. Split 2 land. Let's get into it. It's awesome. It's fun. It's great. I'm so excited. Cannot wait to see all this stuff. I'm sure you guys are excited as well. Next week, ladies and gents, we're going to go through all of it, talk about it, and have ourselves a ball. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex the Podcast. See.